That night, as I lay on the cold bathroom floor with a piercing pain in my hip, I heard the words that would change everything. "We need to put her in a home, Erin. Right away. She can't take care of herself anymore." Natalie's voice cut through the door, firm and decisive, as if I weren't even there anymore. "My name is Martha Hayes. I am 58 years old, and this is the story of how a fall saved my life. But let's start at the beginning." That afternoon had been like any other. I brewed a pot of coffee with cinnamon on the stove, the aroma filling the kitchen just as it always did. My house in the suburbs of Atlanta, Georgia, always had that smell. Fresh-baked cinnamon rolls, the blooming azaleas that drifted in through the open window, and the soft cooing of mourning doves in the backyard. I had lived there for 32 years. I picked out every single tile myself. I planted every bush in the garden with my own 2 hands. That house was my life, my refuge, the place where I raised Aaron, my only son. Aaron was always a good boy, quiet, studious. He graduated with an accounting degree and met Natalie at a business conference in Chicago. When he introduced us, I remember smiling. She was pretty, elegant, dressed in that sleek, modern style I never had. "Mom, this is Natalie, my girlfriend." She extended her hand. I shook it. Her fingers were ice cold despite the warm May weather. "A pleasure, Mrs. Hayes." "The pleasure is mine, sweetheart." But there was something in her eyes, something I couldn't quite decipher in that moment, like when you look into a mirror and see your reflection, but you know there's something behind the glass that you just can't see. They got married 8 months later, a beautiful wedding right in my backyard. I baked the 3-tiered cake myself. Natalie smiled in the photos, but she never hugged me. Not even when I handed her the keys to the guest room. "You kids can stay here as long as you need. This house is yours too." Aaron kissed my forehead. "Thanks, Mom. It'll just be while we save up for our own place." 6 months turned into a year, then into 2. Things began to change little by little, so slowly that I didn't even notice. At first, Natalie started reorganizing the kitchen. "Martha, don't you think it would be better to put the coffee mugs over here? It's more practical." "Sure, honey, whatever you think." Then it was the living room. "This sofa is getting really old. Aaron and I could buy you a new one." "That's not necessary, Natalie. This sofa has history." "But it's stained." I bit my tongue. "I bought that sofa when Aaron was 5 years old. We watched Saturday morning cartoons on it every weekend. That's where I comforted him when his father left us." But I didn't say anything. I wanted to keep the peace. The meals changed too. Natalie wouldn't eat what I cooked. "I'm just on a very specific diet, Martha." "Nothing personal." "I understand, sweetheart." But something in her tone made me feel like every dish I made was wrong, that my cooking wasn't good enough anymore, that times wasn't good enough anymore. And Aaron, my Aaron, started looking at me differently, as if suddenly I were fragile, clumsy. "Mom, be careful on those stairs." "Son, I've been walking up these stairs for 30 years. "I know, but you're not as young as you used to be." 58 years old. When did I become an old woman? Then came that afternoon. The afternoon in the bathroom. I went in to take a shower after watering the plants. The floor looked strange, glossy, shinier than usual. I thought maybe Natalie had cleaned it. She was always hinting that I didn't clean well enough. I turned off the water, took a step, and the world tilted. My feet slipped out from under me as if the floor were made of ice. My body slammed against the tiles with a sickening thud. The pain in my hip pierced through me like a knife. "Aaron!" I screamed. "Aaron, help me!" I heard rushed footsteps. The door opened. "Mom, what happened?" My son lifted me up carefully. I was shaking not from the pain, but from fear, because something about that floor was not right. I slipped. "See, Aaron?" Natalie's voice drifted in from the hallway. "I told you, she can't be left alone anymore. It's dangerous." Asterisk. Dangerous. Asterisk. That word hung in the air while Aaron helped me to my bed. "Get some rest, Mom. We'll go to the doctor tomorrow." "I'm fine, son. It was just a slip." But when they closed the door, I stared at the ceiling, and for the first time in many years, I felt afraid in my own home. I couldn't sleep that night. The throbbing in my hip kept me awake. But more than the physical pain, it was a thought that wouldn't leave me in peace. Why was the floor so incredibly slippery? Why wasn't Natalie surprised when I fell? Why did she sound so prepared? At 2 a.m., I heard their voices in the living room. They were whispering, but the walls of that house were thin. I built that house myself. I knew every inch of it. We can't keep living like this, Aaron. Natalie, she's my mother, and I'm your husband. Think about us, about our future. She has this huge house. We have nothing. My mom has given us everything. Everything? We live like freeloaders. When are we going to have something of our own? Silence. We need to put her in a home, Aaron. Right away. She can't take care of herself anymore. Look at what happened today. What if next time is worse? What if she hits her head? This is for her own good. I closed my eyes. Tears rolled down my cheeks, soaking the pillow. My daughter-in-law wanted to kick me out of my own house, and my son, said nothing. There are moments in life that you keep like photographs in an album. Sharp images that return when you least expect them. Lying in bed that morning with an aching hip, I closed my eyes and went back to those days, the days when everything was simpler. When Aaron was born, I was 26. His father, Robert, worked at a hardware store, and I did alterations and sewed dresses for ladies in the neighborhood. We didn't have much, but we had enough. We had love, or at least I thought we did. One random Tuesday, Robert didn't come home. He left a note on the kitchen counter. Asterisk, forgive me, Martha. I'm not the man you need. Asterisk, Aaron was 11. That night, he cried against my chest, asking me why his dad didn't love us anymore. It's not that he doesn't love us, baby. It's just that sometimes adults lose their way. But you and I are never going to lose each other. Do you promise me? I promise, Mom. And he kept that promise. Aaron was an exemplary son. He never disrespected me, never lied to me. He got straight A's. On Sundays, he helped me wash the car. In the afternoons, when I came home exhausted from sewing, he had already set the table. I made grilled cheese, Mom, just the way you like it. Oh, my sweet boy, what would I do without you? You're never going to be without me, Mom. I promise. I worked day and night to put him through school. I sewed dresses, hemmed pants, baked pies to sell. When Aaron got into the University of Georgia to study accounting, I wept with pride. My son, a seamstress's son, in college. This is for you, Mom, for everything you did for me. No, my sweet boy, this is yours. Your hard work, your intelligence. When he graduated with honors, I felt like everything had been worth it. Every sleepless night, every sacrifice, every dollar saved. Aaron got a great job at an accounting firm. He started making good money. He gave me money every month. Mom, you don't have to sew so much anymore. Rest. Oh, honey, I wouldn't know what to do without my sewing machine. But I did rest a little. For the first time in years, I could sit on the back porch in the afternoons without feeling guilty. I could water my plants in peace. I could bake a peach cobbler just because I was craving it, not because I had to sell it. The house stopped being just a roof. It became a home, a place of peace, until Natalie arrived. I remember the first time she came to visit. Aaron was as nervous as I'd ever seen him. Mom, I want you to meet someone very special. A girlfriend? I asked excitedly. Yes, her name is Natalie. She's amazing, Mom. She's smart, hardworking, ambitious. Asterisk, ambitious. Asterisk, that word should have warned me, but I only saw the happiness in my son's eyes. I'm so glad, honey. When are you bringing her over? This Saturday. Can you make your famous pot roast? I really want to impress her. Of course, son. I'll make the best pot roast of my life. And I did. That Saturday, I woke up at dawn. I seared the meat, chopped the root vegetables, simmered the gravy with care. A good roast takes time, patience, and love, and I put all of that into it. When they arrived, I opened the door with a smile. Natalie was beautiful, sleek, shiny hair, flawless makeup. She wore a beige tailored suit that looked expensive, very expensive. Her shoes had high, thin heels, shoes that could never walk on the dirt paths in my backyard. Mrs. Hayes. What a pleasure to meet you, she said, extending her hand. I shook it. Her fingers were cold. I figured it was just the AC in the car. The pleasure is mine, Natalie. Come in, come in. Dinner is ready. We sat in the dining room. I served the pot roast with mashed potatoes and homemade rolls. Aaron dug in enthusiastically, as always. Natalie barely touched her plate. "Do you not like it, sweetheart?" I asked with concern. "No, it's not that. I just have a somewhat delicate stomach. But it looks delicious, Mrs. Hayes. Try just a little bit. I made it with so much love." She took a tiny bite, chewed slowly, and smiled. But her eyes didn't smile. "It's very rich. I'm just not used to food that's so heavy and savory. Asterisk heavy. Asterisk. As if my pot roast was too much. As if times was too much." Aaron noticed my discomfort. "Natalie is from downtown Chicago, Mom. They eat differently up there." "Of course, son. Everywhere has its own style. But something broke in that moment. Something small, invisible, like a hairline fracture in a coffee mug that doesn't leak yet, but is already damaged." After dinner, Natalie asked for a tour of the house. "Aaron has told me so much about this place. I want to see everything." I proudly showed her every corner of the backyard where the azaleas grew, the kitchen with its vintage tiles, the living room with the sofa where Aaron and I used to watch movies. Natalie walked around, looking at everything with intense focus. Too much focus. "It's a cozy house," she finally said. Asterisk, cozy. Asterisk. The word sounded like a euphemism, like when someone says interesting but really thinks hideous. "Thank you, sweetheart. I built it up with a lot of hard work. It shows. It has character, asterisk, character, asterisk. Another polite word for time's old asterisk." When they left, Aaron hugged me at the door. "What did you think, Mom?" I wanted to tell him that something about this woman unsettled me, that her words were polite but her eyes were cold, that she smiled with her mouth but not with her soul. But I saw his face, that face full of hope, and I couldn't do it. "She's beautiful, son. If you're happy, I'm happy. I'm the happiest man in the world, Mom." I hugged him tight, very tight, as if trying to protect him from something that didn't yet have a name. Months passed. Aaron brought Natalie over more and more frequently. She was always polite, always proper, but never warm. She never asked how I was doing. She never offered to help with the dishes. She never took off her shoes to walk barefoot in the grass, like I did every afternoon. One day, Aaron came over with news. "Mom, Natalie and I are getting married." "Oh, son, what wonderful news." And it was genuine happiness. It really was, but there was also something else, something I didn't want to accept. A small shadow at the bottom of my heart. "We want to have the wedding right here in the backyard. Is that okay with you? Here? Really?" "Of course, Mom. This is my home. I want Natalie to feel like it's hers, too." Asterisk, hers, asterisk. That word stayed with me. The wedding was gorgeous. I baked the biggest cake of my life. The azaleas were in full bloom. The sky was crystal clear. Everything was perfect. Except that when Natalie cut the cake, she looked at the house with those cold eyes, and I knew, even if I didn't want to admit it, that she wasn't looking at a home. She was looking at a property. After the honeymoon, they came back. "Mom, can we stay here for a few months, just while we save up for our own place?" "Of course, son. This is your house. It always will be." Natalie smiled. But it wasn't a smile of gratitude. It was something else. And so it all began. The slow slide toward a cliff I couldn't yet see. The first few weeks were tolerable. Natalie and Aaron took the guest room. I gave them the embroidered sheets I had saved for years, the ones with hand-stitched initials I thought I'd give Aaron when he got his own house. "Thanks, Martha," Natalie said, taking them. "They're very antique. They must be over 20 years old. I can tell." Again, that smile that didn't reach her eyes. In the early days, I tried to include her in everything, the cooking, the conversations, the household routine. I wanted her to feel like part of the family. I wanted her to call me Mom, just like I had called my mother-in-law when Robert and I got married. But Natalie always maintained this elegant distance, an invisible boundary she never invited me to cross. "Good morning, Martha," she'd say every morning. Never, "Good morning, Mom," just Martha. As if we were co-workers. As if there were no bond between us other than Aaron. The first real fracture happened on a Tuesday morning. I was in the kitchen making breakfast. Bacon, scrambled eggs, hash browns, and hot buttermilk biscuits. The smell filled the whole house. It had been Aaron's favorite breakfast since he was a little boy. Natalie appeared in the kitchen doorway. She wore yoga pants and a sports bra, her hair pulled up in a high ponytail. She looked perfect, even having just rolled out of bed. "Good morning, Martha." "Good morning, honey. Breakfast is almost ready." "Oh, I'm not going to eat that." I froze with the spatula in the air. "You don't like eggs?" "It's just that I'm on a very strict diet. Low carb, no saturated fats. Plus, that bacon has way too much sodium." I looked at my skillet. The bacon was sizzling, the eggs scrambling perfectly. "Well, I can make you something else. What would you like?" "Don't worry about it. I'll make my protein smoothie." She pulled a bag of green powder from the fridge, green as grass. She mixed it with water in a small blender she'd brought back from her honeymoon. The noise was deafening in the quiet kitchen. "What is that powder?" I asked with genuine curiosity. "Spirulina, chlorella, plant-based protein. It's what I drink every morning." "Ah, it looks healthy." "It is. You should try it, Martha. At your age, it's important to watch what you eat." Asterisk. At your age. Asterisk, I was 58. I wasn't an ancient woman with one foot in the grave, but the way she said it. "I feel just fine with my food, thanks. For now." But cholesterol, blood pressure, all of that catches up with you. Better to prevent it. Aaron walked in right then, fresh out of the shower, his hair damp. "Smells amazing, Mom. Your favorite son." He sat at the table. I served him a generous plate, and he dug in happily. Natalie sat next to him, sipping her green smoothie, glaring at Aaron's plate as if it were poison. "Babe, you really should take better care of yourself," she told him. "That grease isn't good for you." Aaron laughed. "Nat, I've eaten this my whole life. I'm perfectly fine. For now." But when we hit 60, again, the age reference, as if turning 60 were a terminal illness. "My mom is 58 and she's as healthy as an ox," Aaron said, defending me. "Of course," Natalie replied with that smile. "But it never hurts to take care of yourself, right, Martha?" "Right," I answered, but I didn't return the smile. That same week, Natalie started reorganizing things. First, it was the pantry. I walked into the kitchen and found all my cans and jars on the floor. "What happened here?" "Oh, Martha, I'm reorganizing. This was so cluttered. Grains go here, cans go there, spices over here. But I had my own system. A Martha system. You had beans next to the coffee. It doesn't make sense." It made sense to me. Trust me. I took an interior design class for a semester. I know how to optimize space. Asterisk, a semester. Asterisk, and she was already an expert in the kitchen I had organized for 30 years. "All right," I said, because I didn't want to fight, because I wanted to keep the peace. But when she left, I stared at the pantry. Everything was in places I couldn't remember. The things I used every day were now on the highest shelves. The things I never used were at eye level. That night, when I wanted to make coffee, I couldn't find the canister. It took me 10 minutes. It was hiding behind some cans of tuna I never bought. Aaron walked into the kitchen. "What are you looking for, Mom?" "The coffee." Natalie reorganized everything, and now I can't find anything. "Oh. Well, it looks much neater this way." I didn't want to tell him no. That neat to her didn't mean neat to me. That this was my kitchen, my house, my life. But I saw his face that now always seemed a little tired, a little stressed, and I didn't want to add more weight to his shoulders. "Yes, son, it looks great." A lie. The first of many lies I started telling myself. Next was the living room. One Saturday afternoon, I came back from the grocery store with my bags. I walked into the house and stopped dead in my tracks. My sofa. The sofa where Aaron and I had watched 1,000 movies, where he slept when he had nightmares as a kid, where I cried the night Robert left. It was covered with a beige throw blanket. "What is this?" I asked. Natalie was arranging new throw pillows. White pillows, with gray stripes. Modern. Cold. A slipcover. "I got one that matches the decor." "What decor?" "The one I'm creating. This sofa has stains, Martha, and the color is incredibly faded. It's a 30-year old sofa. Of course it has stains. It has history. It has neglect." I stayed quiet. That word felt like a slap. "It's not neglect, Natalie. It's life. Call it what you want, but it doesn't look good. And since Aaron and I are living here now, I want the house to look presentable. Presentable." Yes, in case we have guests, in case my friends come over. I don't want them thinking we live in, a rundown place. There it was again. I dropped my grocery bags on the floor. I sat on my sofa, now smothered by that beige blanket that erased every memory. Natalie, this is my house. And now it's our Times house, Martha. We're family. Family. How ironic that she used that word while actively erasing every trace of the family I had built. Does Aaron agree with this? It was his idea, actually. He wants me to feel comfortable here. A lie. It had to be a lie. My son would never do this to me without asking. But when Aaron got home from work that night, he looked at the living room and smiled. Looks good, Nat. More modern, right? Your mom's happy with the change, too. He looked at me, expecting confirmation. Yes, I said, it looks great. Lie number 2. The following weeks were a succession of small changes, minor invasions. The framed photos of Aaron as a child on the hallway wall were replaced by abstract prints Natalie bought at a trendy home goods store. Those photos are totally yellowed, Martha, and the frames are horribly outdated. But they're memories. Memories are kept in here, she said, tapping her chest. You don't need the photos on the wall. Easy for her to say. She hadn't raised a son alone. She hadn't worked 1 6-hour days so that the boy in those photos could go to college. The potted plants on the patio were rearranged. Martha, this is entirely too cluttered. I'm going to create a more harmonious composition. But every plant has its spot. Now they'll have a better spot. My geraniums ended up in the shadiest corner. My azaleas were pruned back without my permission. The dogwood tree I planted when Aaron was born was overshadowed by some tall decorative grass she bought. Natalie, the dogwood needs direct sunlight. I took an online landscaping course. I know what I'm doing. An online course versus 30 years of getting my hands dirty in the soil. But I didn't say anything, because every time I opened my mouth, Aaron seemed to tense up, as if times were the problem, as if times were the one causing conflict. One afternoon, while I was watering the plants, my neighbor Brenda peeked over the fence. Martha, are you okay? Yes, Brenda. Why do you ask? You just seem different. Quieter. I'm fine. It's just, I live with my daughter-in-law now. It takes some adjusting. Brenda frowned. Is she the one who completely changed your yard? Yes, she wants it to look more harmonious. It looked beautiful before. It had your touch, Martha. Now it looks, I don't know, cold. Cold. Exactly what I felt but didn't dare say out loud. It's her house now, too, Brenda. It's your house, Martha. You built it. You paid for it. Aaron grew up here. That girl just got here. She's my son's wife. I have to make her feel welcome. There's a difference between making someone feel welcome and letting them erase you, honey. I stood there with the hose in my hand, watching the water run over plants that were no longer where I had put them. She's not erasing me, Brenda. Are you sure? I didn't answer, because I wasn't sure of anything. That night, I sat on my bed and looked around my bedroom. It was the only space in the house Natalie hadn't improved yet. It still had my floral curtains, my old vanity with the tarnished mirror, my hand-knit quilt. I took the rosary from my nightstand, the one my grandmother gave me for my first communion, and ran the beads through my fingers. Asterisk, dear Lord. Asterisk, I whispered. Asterisk, give me patience. Give me wisdom. Help me keep the peace in my home. Asterisk. But a part of me, a tiny voice I didn't want to hear, was telling me something else. It told me that peace isn't maintained through silence, that sometimes peace is destroyed precisely because we stay silent for too long. I closed my eyes and tried to sleep, but sleep wouldn't come. Because I was beginning to feel something I hadn't felt in 30 years. I was beginning to feel like a stranger in my own home. There is a difference between compromising and submitting. Compromising is choosing peace. Submitting is losing pieces of yourself until you no longer know who you were. I didn't know it then, but I was submitting. The months slipped through my fingers like water. October, November, December. And with each passing month, my house looked less like my house and more like a place where I was merely a tenant. December arrived with its promise of Christmas Eve dinners, neighborhood parties, and family gatherings. It had always been my favorite month. Ever since Aaron was a boy, I decorated the whole house. The nativity scene took up half the living room. I hung garlands in every window, and I baked gingerbread cookies that filled the house with the scent of cinnamon and cloves. "Mom, are you putting up the nativity scene yet?" Aaron would ask every December 1st. "Of course, baby, it's tradition." This year, when I pulled the boxes down from the attic, Natalie appeared. "What is all that?" "Christmas decorations. We always decorate on the 1st of December." She looked at the boxes with that expression I had come to know so well, that mix of polite disdain and quiet superiority. "Martha, those decorations are incredibly old. The shepherd's paint is peeling. The Virgin Mary is faded. Saint Joseph has superglue all over him, because I've repaired them for 30 years. Every figure has a story. They have dust and decay." I opened the box and took out the baby Jesus, the ceramic figure I had bought the year Aaron was born. It had a tiny crack on its head that I had glued with such care. I bought this one when Aaron was born. I put it in his crib every Christmas Eve. Exactly my point. It's over 30 years old. "Martha, you can't cling to the past your whole life. Asterisk, clinging to the past. Asterisk, is that what I was doing, or was I simply honoring my history? These are family traditions, Natalie, and we can create new traditions, more modern, more elegant." Aaron walked in carrying his briefcase, just home from work. "What's going on here?" "Your mom wants to put up this old nativity scene," Natalie said before I could speak. "I was just telling her we could buy a new one. A minimalist one. Like the modern ones you see in the magazines." Aaron looked at my nativity scene. I saw something in his eyes, something akin to nostalgia, but it lasted barely a second. "Nat's right, Mom. Maybe it's time to upgrade. We can pack the old one away as a keepsake and buy a new one. Asterisk, pack it away. Asterisk, yes, in a box, so it wouldn't deteriorate anymore. Asterisk, so I wouldn't have to look at it anymore. Asterisk, I thought. Asterisk, so I wouldn't touch it anymore. So it would disappear. Just like everything else I care about is disappearing. Asterisk." "All right," I said, because I didn't know how to say anything else anymore. Natalie smiled triumphantly. "Perfect. I'll take care of it. I know an amazing boutique downtown." 3 days later, she came back with a wooden nativity scene. Minimalist. Geometric figures. Faceless. Cold. So cold it didn't look like it represented the birth of a baby, but rather a contemporary art installation. "What do you think?" she asked proudly. "It's different. It's elegant. Just wait until my friends see it at Christmas." Asterisk, her time's friends. Not my friends. Not the neighbors I had shared 30 Christmases with. Her friends from Chicago, who would come down to judge my house with their critical eyes. That night, when everyone was asleep, I went down to the attic. I found the box where Natalie had packed my nativity scene. I opened it, took the baby Jesus in my hands, and cried. I cried for the first time since Natalie had entered my life. I wept silently, holding the ceramic figure to my chest, feeling like I was losing something much bigger than some Christmas decorations. I was losing my place in my own story. Christmas arrived. The house was decorated in Natalie's elegant style, white, silver, and gold, cold as a catalog spread. Natalie's friends came to visit. 3 women her age, chic, fully made up, carrying designer bags and rehearsed laughs. "Girls, I want you to meet Martha, Aaron's mom." "Nice to meet you," I said, extending my hand. They looked me up and down. One of them, a blonde with very red lips, smiled. "Oh, how cute. Did you make those cookies on the table?" "Yes, gingerbread. Family recipe." "How?" "Traditional," she said in a tone that was definitely not a compliment. "I don't bake anymore. That's what gourmet bakeries are for." The other 2 laughed. So did Natalie. "My mother-in-law is very old school," Natalie said. "She loves doing everything by hand. Asterisk, old school, asterisk, as if working hard was a character flaw." I retreated to the kitchen. From there, I heard them talking. "Your house is gorgeous, Nat." "Thanks. I've been updating it little by little. It was a total disaster when I moved in. And your mother-in-law doesn't mind? She understands we need to modernize. Besides, at her age, she just doesn't have the energy to keep things up like she used to." Asterisk, at her age. Asterisk. Again, that phrase, as if 58 was the end of the line. And you guys are living here permanently? For now. But we're looking at options. Aaron wants a place closer to the city, nearer his firm. This is way too far out in the suburbs. What's going to happen to the house? I don't know. Maybe we'll sell it. Maybe we'll rent it out. We haven't decided yet. I felt the ground shift beneath my feet. Asterisk. Sell my house. Asterisk. The house I built. The house I worked 30 years to pay off. Without even consulting me, I walked out of the kitchen. The 4 women looked at me. Did you say you were selling the house? Natalie blinked. She hadn't expected me to hear. Martha, it was just a conversation, just an idea, nothing concrete. This is my time's house, Natalie. Of course. But it's also Aaron's home. He's going to inherit it someday, right? We were just thinking about the future. I am still alive. There is no inheritance to divide yet. The friends exchanged uncomfortable glances. Of course, Martha, Natalie said smoothly. No one is saying otherwise. It was just ideas, dreams. You know how women are when we get together. We just talk. But I had heard the tone. The tone of someone who was already planning, someone who was already counting the cash my house would fetch on the market. That night, I waited for Aaron to get home from work. I was in my room when I heard him come in. I went out to the hall. Son, I need to talk to you. Shoot, Mom, but make it quick. I'm exhausted. I heard Natalie today. She talked about selling the house. Aaron sighed. That heavy sigh he now let out every time I brought up Natalie. Mom. It's not a big deal. She was just chatting with her friends. But she spoke as if it had already been decided. We haven't decided anything. They're just ideas, future plans. Aaron, this is my house. I paid for it. I know, Mom. No one is taking your house away. Then why are you talking about selling it? Because someday, Mom, someday I'm going to inherit it. And when that happens, Natalie and I will have to decide what to do with it. Asterisk, when that happens. Asterisk, as if my death were just pending paperwork, as if I were already on my way out the door. I am 58 years old, Aaron, not 68, not 78, 58. I could live another 30 years. I know, Mom, and I hope you live another 100. But you have to understand that Natalie and I have plans too, dreams. We can't live here forever. No one is forcing you to live here. You asked to stay for a few months. It's been almost 2 years. Do you want to leave? No, Mom. I would never kick you out. But I also never expected you to start treating me like a nuisance in my own home. No one treats you like a nuisance. No? Natalie changed every corner of this house. My kitchen, my living room, my yard, even my nativity scene. And you let her, without asking me, without consulting me, as if I don't have a voice in my own home anymore. Aaron ran his hand through his hair, a gesture of frustration I recognized from his childhood. Mom, are you overreacting? Natalie just wants the house to look nice, and it didn't look nice before. Asterisk, 30 years of my life weren't enough to make it look nice. Asterisk, that's not it. Then what is it, Aaron? Because I don't understand what's happening anymore. I don't understand what my place is in this family. You're my mother. You're always going to be my mother. But I'm not the owner of my house anymore, am I? I don't have the right to decide what my living room looks like or where my plants go, because Natalie decides everything now. She lives here, and I don't matter anymore. Silence. A silence so long and heavy I felt like I was drowning. Finally, Aaron spoke. Mom, you're being unfair to Natalie. She's done a lot for this house, for this family. What has she done? Tell me, what has she done that I haven't done for 30 years? She brought modernity, order, elegance, asterisk, modernity, order, elegance, asterisk, as if I had lived in squalor and chaos for 3 decades. I understand, I said. Understand what? That there is no room left for me here. Or at least, not for the person I am. For the old school woman, the one who bakes gingerbread cookies and has a faded nativity scene and a cluttered garden. She doesn't fit here anymore, does she? Mom, don't put words in my mouth. I'm not. I heard them today. Natalie told her friends I was old school, like it was something to be ashamed of. Like my way of living is a problem that needs to be solved. She didn't mean it like that. Were you there? Did you hear her? No. But then you don't know what she meant. I do. Because I've been hearing that tone for almost 2 years. That tone that says, poor Martha, so outdated, so out of place in her own house. Erin stepped forward, trying to take my hands. I pulled away. Mom, please, I don't want to fight with you. I don't want to fight either, son. But I don't want to disappear, either. And that's what's happening. I am disappearing in my own home, and you are letting it happen. That's not true. No? Where are the photos of you as a child? Where is my nativity scene? Where are my throw pillows? Where is the sofa where I held you when you had nightmares? Everything is covered up, hidden, replaced, as if our history together is worth nothing. You're being dramatic, Mom. Asterisk. Dramatic. Asterisk. Now I was dramatic for defending what was mine. You're right, I said. I am being dramatic. Forgive me. I turned around and walked toward my room. Mom, wait. I closed the door, sat on my bed, and cried in silence once again, because I had just realized something terrible. My son was making a choice, and he wasn't choosing me. The days following that conversation were strange. Erin avoided me. Natalie spoke to me with exaggerated courtesy, as if I were a confused old woman who needed to be handled with extreme condescension. Good morning, Martha. Did you sleep well? Good morning. Do you want me to make you something special for breakfast? As if I hadn't cooked thousands of breakfasts in that kitchen. No, thanks. I can cook. Of course you can. I just want to help. At your age, it's important not to overexert yourself. Asterisk. At your age. At your age. At your age. Asterisk. Those words became a hammer beating down my self-esteem every morning. One afternoon, I decided to go for a walk. I needed air. I needed distance from a house that no longer felt like mine. I walked through the neighborhood. I passed by my neighbors' houses. Mr. Henderson was watering his front lawn. Martha, how are you? I'm good, Albert. Just getting some air. I'm out here fighting with these rose bushes. Hey, I don't see your azaleas from the street anymore. They used to peek over the fence. They got pruned back. But they were gorgeous. Why? My daughter-in-law thought they looked too messy. Mr. Henderson frowned. Azaleas are wild, Martha. Beautiful because they're free. If you prune them too much, they lose their essence. I stood there looking at him. Was he talking about the plants? Or me? You're right, Albert. Martha, forgive me for sticking my nose where it doesn't belong, but you look different, dimmer. I'm fine. No, you're not fine. I've known you since you moved into this neighborhood holding Erin as a baby. I watched you fix up that house with your own hands. I watched you raise that boy alone. You were always a strong woman. And now you look like a shadow. The tears came without permission. I don't know what's happening to me, Albert. I do. You're erasing yourself to keep the peace, to not make waves. But Martha, sometimes waves are necessary. Sometimes you have to stir the water so it doesn't go stagnant. I just don't want to lose my son. And you're losing yourself in the process. Is it worth it? I didn't answer, because I didn't know the answer. I headed back home as the sun began to set. I walked in through the back door and heard voices in the living room, Erin and Natalie. I can't take this anymore, babe. Your mom makes me feel like an invader. It's not like that, Nat. She just needs time to adapt. How much time? We've been here almost 2 years, Erin, and I still feel like this is her house, not ours. Technically, it is hers. But someday, it'll be yours. It'll be ours. Why do we have to wait so long? Silence. What are you suggesting? I'm not suggesting anything bad. I'm just saying your mom is aging. Maybe it would be better for her to be in a place where people can look after her. A place where she doesn't have to worry about maintaining such a big house. A nursing home? Don't call it that. There are beautiful assisted living facilities, with activities, with people her own age. She'd be better off there than here, alone all day while we work. I don't know, Nat. I don't think my mom would accept that. She doesn't have to accept it if there's a medical reason, if a doctor says she can't live alone anymore. But she's healthy right now. But at her age, anything can happen. A fall, memory lapses, anything that shows she needs help. My blood ran cold. Was Natalie suggesting what I thought she was suggesting? I don't know, Nat. It seems too drastic. Just think about it. That's all I'm asking. Think about us. Our future, the kids we want to have. Do you really want to raise them here with your mom breathing down our necks? Or do you want your own space, your own house, where you and I are the masters of our domain? Let me think about it. I walked up the stairs in silence. I went into my room, locked the door, and sat on my bed. I was shaking. Natalie wanted to remove me from my home, and she was planting that idea in my son's head. But how? How was she going to make me look incapable of taking care of myself? Asterisk a fall. Asterisk, she had said. Asterisk memory lapses. Anything. Asterisk I lay down, closed my eyes, but didn't sleep. Because for the first time in my life, I was terrified. Terrified in my own home. Terrified of my own daughter-in-law. And worst of all, terrified that my son would choose to believe her instead of protecting me. January arrived with its characteristic chill. The mornings in Georgia woke up with a dense fog that covered the backyard like a gray blanket. I watched it from my bedroom window, feeling like that fog was inside me too, clouding my judgment, confusing my reality. It had been 2 weeks since I overheard that conversation. 2 weeks in which I couldn't look at Natalie without a knot in my stomach. 2 weeks in which every gesture of hers, every word, every smile seemed loaded with double meaning. Was I getting paranoid, or was I finally seeing what had always been there? The first incident happened on a Tuesday morning. I woke up early, as usual. By 6 a.m., I was in the kitchen making coffee. I opened the cabinet to grab my favorite mug, a blue ceramic mug Aaron had given me for my 16th. Well, when he was a teenager. It said, "Times, Mom, Times" in gold lettering. I reached up, my fingers touched the rim, and then it happened. The mug slipped as if someone had coated it in grease. It flew out of my hands and smashed against the floor into 1,000 pieces. I stood there staring at the blue and white shards, the gold letters separated, the word "Times, Mom, Times" broken. What happened? Natalie appeared in the doorway. In her yoga pants and sports bra, always perfectly put together. My mug. I dropped it. "Oh, Martha, you have to be more careful. At our age, our hands just don't have the same grip." Asterisk, our age. Asterisk, as if she, at 32, were in the same category as me. It wasn't my grip. The mug was slippery, greasy. I washed the dishes last night. Maybe there was soap left on it. Or maybe not. I knelt to pick up the pieces. Every shard hurt as if it were a piece of my heart. That mug had survived 15 years, and now it was destroyed. "Let me help you," Natalie said, crouching next to me. "I don't want you to cut yourself. At your age, wounds take longer to heal." Asterisk, at your age, asterisk again. We picked up the pieces in silence. But when she left, I stared at the trash can, and something made me doubt. Had it really been an accident? 3 days later, the second incident occurred. It was Friday. Aaron had left early for a big meeting downtown. Natalie had gone to the gym, or so she said. I was alone in the house, taking the opportunity to clean my room. I decided to change the sheets. I stripped the bed and went to the hallway linen closet. The fresh sheets were on the top shelf. I normally used a small step stool to reach them, but that day, the stool wasn't where I usually kept it. I looked all over the house. Nothing. Finally, I found it in Aaron and Natalie's bedroom, tucked away in the back of their closet, as if someone had deliberately hidden it. I grabbed it and went back to the hallway. I stepped onto the stool, reached up for the sheets. Just as my fingers brushed the fabric, I felt the stool shift. I wobbled. My arms flailed in the air, grasping for balance. For a split second, I thought I was going to fall, that my head would smash against the floor, that it would be the end, but I managed to grab the doorframe. My heart hammered like a war drum. I stepped off the stool, my legs shaking. When I inspected the stool, I saw why it had shifted. One of the rubber grips on the bottom of the legs was coated in oil. Fresh oil, like someone had just wiped it on. "Who?" I whispered to the empty house. I wiped the oil off with a rag, hid the stool in my bedroom, and for the first time, locked my door from the inside. The third incident was the one that truly opened my eyes. It was a Sunday afternoon. Aaron had gone to watch football with his buddies. Natalie was in the living room watching a show on her laptop. I had gone out to the patio to water the plants. My geraniums were dying in the shade she had relegated them to. I was trying to revive them, watering them, talking to them like I always did. "Come on, girls, don't give up on me. I know you hate this corner." I would too. As I dragged the hose, I stepped on something soft under my shoe. I lifted my foot. It was a peach, a rotten, squishy peach, smashed against the concrete. I frowned. We didn't have a peach tree. We had never had one. Where did it come from? I looked around. There were more. 3 more rotten peaches scattered along the stone path leading from the back door to the patio, strategically placed, as if someone had put them there so I would slip. A rotten peach is incredibly slick, especially when squashed. If I had stepped on one while carrying the heavy hose on wet concrete, I would have gone down hard. I picked up the peaches with trembling hands, put them in a Ziploc bag. I didn't throw them in the trash. I kept them. I didn't know why, but something inside me said this was evidence. I couldn't eat dinner that night. The knot in my stomach was too tight. Aaron noticed my silence. "Are you okay, Mom? You barely touched your food." "I'm fine, honey. Just a little tired." "You should rest more. You're not 20 anymore." Asterisk, I'm not 20, but I'm not 80 either. Asterisk. I went up to my room early, locked the door, took out the bag of peaches, and set it on my dresser. I sat on the bed staring at them. 1 accident could be an accident. 2 accidents could be a coincidence. But 3? 3 highly dangerous situations in less than 2 weeks? I got up and found my old notebook, where I kept recipes and to-do lists. I opened to a blank page and started writing. Asterisk Tuesday, Yon 8, greasy mug, dropped and broke. Asterisk. Asterisk Friday, Jan 11, step stool leg oiled, almost fell. Asterisk. Asterisk Sunday, Jan 13, rotten peaches on patio walkway. Asterisk. I stared at the list. 3 incidents, 3 scenarios where I could have been seriously injured. And then I remembered the conversation I had overheard weeks ago. Natalie's voice. Asterisk. A fall, memory lapses. Anything that shows she needs help. Asterisk. My blood ran cold. They weren't accidents. They were attempts. For the next few days, I stayed hyper-vigilant. I checked every surface before touching it. I watched every step I took. I didn't eat anything. I hadn't prepared myself. Natalie noticed. "Martha, you're very jumpy lately. Is everything okay?" "Everything's fine. It's just that you seem cautious. Like you're afraid of something." "I'm not afraid of anything." But I was. I was terrified. Afraid of falling. Afraid of getting hurt. Afraid of giving Natalie exactly what she was looking for. An excuse to declare me incompetent. One afternoon, while Natalie was at the grocery store, Publix, she said, and Aaron was at work, I decided to search her room. I'm not proud to admit it, but I needed to know. I needed to confirm if what I was thinking was real, or if I was finally going crazy. I walked in, my heart pounding in my throat. The room was immaculate, the bed perfectly made, not a piece of clothing out of place. So different from the warm, messy room Aaron had when he lived alone with me. I opened Natalie's drawers. Perfectly folded clothes, color-coordinated lace underwear, socks rolled like in an organization magazine. I checked the closet, shoes lined up, designer bags in their original dust covers. Then I saw a shoebox on the highest shelf. Something about it caught my eye. It was dusty, as if it hadn't been moved in a long time, weird for someone as obsessively neat as Natalie. I dragged over a chair, pulled the box down, and opened it. Inside, there were no shoes. There were papers, brochures for assisted living and nursing homes. 5 different ones, all marked up with handwritten notes. Asterisk Golden Years Retreat, Atlanta, $6,500 month. Sunny Meadows Residence, 24/7 nursing included. Oak Haven accepts early onset dementia. Asterisk early onset dementia. I didn't have dementia, early or late, but there was that brochure, circled in red pen. Beneath the brochures were more papers, copies of legal documents. I didn't know much about the law, but I recognized some words. Asterisk probate. Sole heir. Last will and testament. Asterisk my will. Natalie had a copy of my will. How? When had she gotten it? And underneath it all, the thing that chilled me to the bone, a handwritten list in Natalie's flawless cursive. Asterisk est. Property value, $850,000. Asterisk. Asterisk. Location, high-growth suburb. Appreciation guaranteed. Asterisk. Asterisk. Lot size, 0.75 acres. Potential to subdivide. Asterisk. Asterisk. Aaron sole heir per 2018. Will, asterisk. My house. My home, reduced to numbers, to dollars, to acreage. And at the bottom of the page, a note that broke my heart. Asterisk plan. Prove progressive decline, 3 to 6 months. Consult lawyer regarding conservatorship. Asterisk. My hands shook so badly I almost dropped the papers. Conservatorship. Progressive decline. Prove it. Natalie was planning to declare me legally incompetent so she could have me locked away, so Aaron could take legal control of my house, so they could sell it or do whatever they wanted with it, and I would be locked in a nursing home, watching my life auctioned off to the highest bidder. I grabbed my smartphone and took photos of every paper, every page, every note. My hands were trembling, but I managed to capture it all. I put everything exactly back where it was. I put the box back on the shelf, left the room, closed the door, went to my room, locked it, and sat on my bed. For the first time in weeks, I didn't cry. There was no room left for tears. Now, there was only room for clarity. A cold, hard clarity, like steel. We ate dinner together that night. Natalie had prepared a salmon salad. I ate in silence, observing her. I studied her like I had never studied her before. Her mannerisms, the way she smiled, her eyes that darted away whenever I looked at her directly. "Did you like dinner, Martha?" she asked with that fake sweetness. "It was very good, Natalie, thank you." "You're welcome. I was thinking maybe we should take turns cooking. I'll do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You do Tuesday and Thursday. Weekends we can get takeout. That way, you won't get so tired. Asterisk, so I won't get so tired. Asterisk, so I cook less. So I gradually cede more territory, until there is nothing left of me in this house." "That sounds good," I said with a smile. "I could play this game too." The next morning, I called my neighbor Brenda. "Brenda, can you come over? I need to talk to you." "Of course, Martha. Be there in 10 minutes. When she arrived, I took her straight to my bedroom and locked the door. I showed her the photos on my phone. Brenda looked at them in silence. Her face shifted from surprise to horror to outrage. "Martha, this is..." "I know. Does Aaron know?" "I don't know. Maybe yes, maybe no. But either way, my daughter-in-law is planning to kick me out of my house, and she's staging accidents to justify it." I told her everything. The mug, the stool, the peaches, every incident written in my notebook. Brenda grabbed my hands. "Martha, this is serious. Very serious. You can't stay quiet." "I know. But if I tell Aaron, will he believe me? He's in love with her. He thinks she's perfect. And I'm just the bitter mother-in-law who won't accept his wife." "You are not a bitter mother-in-law. You are a mother under attack in her own home. I think you need proof, Martha. Real proof, not just photos of some notes. You need her to slip up so it's undeniable what she's doing." "And how am I going to do that?" "I don't know yet. But be alert. Document everything. And when you have enough evidence, you strike." I nodded. "I'll be ready. I'll keep an eye out. Anything you need, you call me. Any time of day or night. You hear me?" "I hear you." We hugged. And for the first time in months, I didn't feel completely alone. The following days were a silent war. Natalie played the role of the concerned daughter-in-law. She asked how I slept. She offered help with everything. But I saw behind every gesture. I watched how she reorganized my kitchen, putting the heaviest things on the highest shelves. I watched how she cleaned the bathroom, leaving the floor strangely slick. I watched how she helped wash the dishes, leaving soap residue on the cups. Every action had a dual purpose. It looked helpful, but it was dangerous, and I documented it all. I wrote every incident in my notebook. I took photos when I could, but I didn't say a word, because I knew I had to wait for the exact right moment. That moment arrived faster than I expected. It was a Thursday afternoon. I had just gotten back from the grocery store. I carried in the heavy bags. I walked through the front door. Natalie was in the living room with her laptop. "Want some help with those bags, Martha?" "No thanks. I've got it." I went to the kitchen, put the bags on the counter, and then I heard her voice from the living room. She was on the phone. "Yes, Dr. Evans. It's about my mother-in-law. Yes, Martha Hayes, 58. Lately she's had several incidents, dropping things. She almost fell off a stool. She's been very forgetful. Yes. I think we need a full geriatric evaluation next week. Perfect. No, she doesn't know I'm calling. I'd rather surprise her. You know how the elderly are. They never want to admit they need help. Yes. Thank you so much, doctor. I froze behind the kitchen door. Natalie was booking a medical appointment for me, without my consent, a geriatric evaluation to declare me incompetent. She was no longer planning, she was executing. And I was running out of time. Friday dawned overcast. One of those Georgia days where the sky turns lead gray and threatens rain, but it never pours. I took it as a sign, a warning from the universe that something was about to happen. I wasn't wrong. That morning, Aaron left early for a conference in downtown Atlanta. He'd be gone all day. He told me while eating breakfast with that constant rush he always seemed to be in now. Mom, I won't be back until late tonight. If you need anything, call Natalie. Call Natalie. The person planning to institutionalize me. Perfect. Don't worry, son. I'll be fine. Natalie came down half an hour later. She was heading out, too. Martha, I have a dentist appointment. I'll be back in about 2 hours. All right. Are you sure you're going to be okay alone? The way she said it, like I was a toddler who couldn't be left unsupervised. I've lived alone most of my life, Natalie. 2 hours won't kill me. Something flashed in her eyes. Something I couldn't interpret right then. Sure, you're right. See you later. She left. I heard her car engine fading down the street. The house fell silent, a dense, threatening silence. I poured myself another cup of coffee. My hands were shaking a little. I didn't know if it was the caffeine or the weeks of accumulated nerves. I decided to take a shower. I needed to relax, feel the hot water on my tense back, wash the fear off my skin. I went upstairs, grabbed clean clothes, and went to the hallway bathroom. The only full bathroom besides the master ensuite. I always used this one so I wouldn't invade their space. I opened the bathroom door. Everything looked normal. The shower curtain was drawn. The mirror was slightly fogged from Natalie's shower that morning. The towels hung neatly on the rack. I closed the door, turned on the hot water, and waited for it to warm up. Steam began to fill the room. I undressed and stepped into the tub. The hot water was a balm. I closed my eyes, let it run through my hair, over my face, down my shoulders. For a moment, just for a moment, I forgot everything else. I stayed in there longer than planned. Maybe 20 minutes, maybe half an hour. I lost track of time under that stream of water that felt like a hug. Finally, I turned off the faucet, pulled back the curtain, stepped out onto the bathroom floor. What happened next occurred so fast my brain didn't have time to process it. My feet slid as if the floor were an ice rink, as if there were zero friction between my soles and the tiles. I tried to grab onto something. My hands desperately sought the wall, the sink, the curtain, anything, but it was too late. My body flew backward. My hip hit first, then my shoulder, then my head. The pain was instant, electric, like 1,000 needles driven into me at the exact same time. I lay on the floor, naked, wet, in agony, staring at the white ceiling while lights danced across my vision. I tried to get up. I couldn't. My hips screamed, my shoulder throbbed, my head spun. "Help," I whispered. But no one was home. I was entirely alone. I don't know how much time passed, 5 minutes, 10, an eternity. Finally, I managed to roll onto my side. The pain was unbearable, but I pushed through it. I dragged myself toward the door. Every inch was agony. I managed to reach a towel. I covered myself as best I could. I sat with my back against the wall, panting, shivering, feeling like my whole body had become one massive bruise. And then I saw it. The bathroom floor. Glossy. Asterisk. 2 times glossy. It wasn't water. Water doesn't leave that texture. Water doesn't reflect light like that. It was something else. With a trembling hand, I touched the floor. My fingers came away coated in something greasy, viscous, slick. Wax. The floor was covered in floor wax. Wax on a bathroom floor. Who puts wax on a bathroom tile floor right outside a shower? It was absurd, dangerous, intentional. I remembered Natalie's words that morning. Asterisk, are you sure you're going to be okay alone? Asterisk. It wasn't a question. It was a confirmation. She knew what was going to happen because she had set it up. I don't know how I managed to stand up. The human body is strange. In moments of crisis, it finds strength you didn't know you had. I got dressed with slow, agonizing movements. Every time I lifted my arm, my shoulder protested. Every time I bent my leg, I saw stars. I walked down the stairs, clinging to the banister. Every step was a trial. I made it to the kitchen, sat in a chair, took deep breaths, tried to think clearly through the pain and fear. Natalie would be back soon. I had to act fast. I stood up. I went back to the hallway bathroom. This time, careful not to step where I had fallen. I opened the cabinet under the sink. There were the cleaning supplies. And there, hidden behind the toilet bowl cleaner, was the evidence. A can of liquid floor wax, extra shine for hardwood and vinyl. With a red warning label, asterisk, do not use on surfaces exposed to water. Extremely slippery. Asterisk. I grabbed it. My hands shook so much I almost dropped it. This can shouldn't be here. I never bought floor wax. My house had tile and laminate. It didn't need this kind of wax. And I would never, ever put wax in a bathroom. But someone had. Someone who wanted me to fall. Someone who needed me to get hurt to justify what she had been planning for months. I left the bathroom with the can in my hands. I went to my bedroom, hid it in the back of my closet, behind boxes of old photos. Then, I took out my phone. I took pictures of the bathroom floor, the unnatural shine, the greasy texture. I also took photos of my bruises. They were already blooming. A massive one on my hip, another on my shoulder, a smaller one on the back of my head. Evidence. I needed evidence. I went downstairs, made myself a cup of chamomile tea. My hands still shook. My entire body shook. And then I heard Natalie's car pull into the driveway. Time was up. Natalie walked through the back door. She carried a grocery bag. Her face was a perfect mask of normalcy. I'm back, Martha. Everything okay? I looked at her. Really looked at her, as if seeing her for the very first time. Everything's fine, I said. She put the bag on the counter. Her eyes scanned me quickly, searching for something. Did you shower? Your hair is wet. Yes. I took a shower. And everything was fine? You didn't slip or anything? There it was. The question pressing against the back of her teeth. The confirmation of what I already knew. No, everything's fine. I was careful. Something flashed across her face. Something like disappointment. But she recovered instantly. Good, because that floor can be slippery after a shower. You have to be very careful. Yes, I said. You have to be very careful. We stared at each other. The air between us was heavy with the unsaid, with the truth we both knew but neither spoke. Does something hurt? She asked suddenly. You look uncomfortable. I'm fine. Are you sure? Because you're holding your hip. I hadn't realized. Subconsciously, my hand had drifted to where it hurt the most. It just aches a little. Maybe I slept wrong. Or maybe you fell and you don't want to tell me. Her voice sounded concerned, but her eyes were cold, calculating. I didn't fall, Natalie. Because if you fell, we should go to the doctor. A fall at your age could be serious. It could be a sign of something worse. Balance issues, vertigo, things that happen when you start aging. There was times, age times again, as a weapon, as a justification, as a sentence. I told you, I'm fine. But if you fall again, if it happens again, we'd have to consider safer options for you. Asterisk. Safer options. Asterisk. Like a nursing home. I'm not going to fall again, I said. I hope not. Because I worry about you, Martha. I really do. You're my husband's mother, your family, and family takes care of family. Asterisk. Family takes care of family. Asterisk. Such pretty words coming from such a venomous mouth. That evening, Aaron came home exhausted. We ate together. A rotisserie chicken Natalie had bought at Publix. I barely took a bite. The pain in my hip was a constant, dull roar, but I said nothing. How was your day, Mom? Aaron asked. Quiet. Took a shower, rested. Nothing special. Natalie looked at me over the rim of her water glass. Her eyes said, Asterisk, I know something happened. I know you fell, and I know you're not telling me. Asterisk, but I held her gaze. My eyes said, Asterisk, I know what you did. I have proof. And I'm not going to let you win. Asterisk. I'm glad you rested, Mom, Aaron said. You've looked exhausted lately. It's her age, Natalie chimed in before I could respond. At 58, the body just isn't the same. 58 is not old, I snapped, with more force than I intended. Aaron looked at me, surprised. Natalie raised an eyebrow. No one said you were old, Martha. Just that you need to take better care of yourself. Prevention. You know, prevention. What a beautiful word for times control, asterisk. That night, when everyone was asleep, I slipped out of my room. I went down the stairs carefully, walked out to the back patio where the trash cans were. I turned on my phone flashlight, opened the main trash bin, dug through the bags, and there it was. A small black trash bag with something inside. I opened it. Rags. Rags that smelled heavily of chemical wax. The very rags used to spread the wax on the bathroom floor. The ones that turned that room into a death trap. Natalie had thrown them away, thinking I would never find them. Thinking her plan had worked and I would be in the hospital. Injured, terrified, confirming her narrative that I couldn't live independently anymore. I took the bag, hid it in my room next to the can of wax. Evidence. I was building my case. Saturday morning I woke up stiff and aching. The bruises had darkened overnight. My hip was a roadmap of purples and blues. My shoulder wasn't far behind. I put on clothes that covered everything. Long pants, a long-sleeved sweater. I didn't want anyone seeing the marks. I went down to breakfast. Natalie was in the kitchen. Good morning, Martha. How did you sleep? Fine. Does anything hurt? I saw you walking a bit funny last night. I'm fine, Natalie. Because if your hip hurts, we could go to urgent care. Get an x-ray to make sure everything's okay. There she was again. Pushing, prodding, trying to herd me to a doctor to confirm I had fallen, that I was weak, that I needed help. I don't need a doctor. My tone was harsher than I meant it to be. Natalie went quiet, but I saw something in her eyes. Frustration. Maybe anger. Her plan hadn't worked exactly as she hoped. I had fallen, yes, but I hadn't run to Aaron crying. I hadn't gone to the hospital. I hadn't given her what she needed. Later that day, while Natalie and Aaron went to an open house just to get an idea of the market for when the time comes, she had said, I called Brenda. Come over, please. It's urgent. Brenda was there in 15 minutes. I took her to my room, locked the door, and showed her everything. The can of wax, the rags from the trash, the photos of the bathroom floor, the photos of my bruises, the photos of the legal documents I had found weeks ago, my notebook with the timeline of accidents. Brenda looked at it all in silence. Her face cycled through every emotion: shock, horror, rage. Martha, this is attempted assault. Yes. To institutionalize me. To take my house. You have to report her to the police. This is a crime. Report her? Brenda, she's my son's wife. If I call the cops, I lose Aaron forever. And if you do nothing, what do you think is going to happen? She's going to try again. And maybe next time you times end up in the hospital. Or worse. Asterisk, dead asterisk. You think she'd go that far? I looked at the wax, the rags, the photos of my bruised flesh. Yes, she would. What am I going to do, Brenda? My friend took my hands. First, you're going to keep all this physical evidence at my house. Not here. Just in case. Just in case what? In case she figures out, you know. In case she tries to destroy the evidence. In case something happens. But what are you going to do after that? You can't keep living like this. Terrified in your own home, checking every surface before you step. I have to talk to Aaron. He won't believe you. I have proof, Brenda. Photos, documents, the wax, the rags, everything. How could he not believe me? Because he's in love. And love is blind, especially when the other person is as good at manipulation as Natalie is. Brenda sighed. You have two choices. You stay quiet and wait for something worse to happen. Or you speak up and risk your relationship with your son. But at least you'll be alive. And you'll have your dignity. Asterisk, alive. And with my dignity. Asterisk, that sounded like a luxury at this point. I didn't sleep that night. I stared at my bedroom ceiling, thinking, calculating, planning. I had lived 58 years. I raised a son by myself. I paid off a mortgage with my own blood, sweat, and tears. I survived my husband abandoning me. I worked until my fingers bled to give Aaron a better life. I wasn't going to let a manipulative woman take all of that away from me, not without a fight, but I needed a smart plan. Because Natalie was cunning and Aaron was under her spell. I needed her to expose herself. I needed Aaron to see it with his own eyes. I needed the mask to slip in front of him. I knew exactly how to do it. But I needed time and courage, and above all, I needed to survive long enough to execute my plan. Because one thing was clear, Natalie wasn't going to stop. She tried once, she failed. She would try again. The question was when, and more importantly, would I be ready? Sunday morning I came down for breakfast with my mind made up. I wasn't going to run. I wasn't going to hide. I wasn't going to give Natalie the satisfaction of seeing me afraid. I was going to keep living in my time's house, with my head held high, but I was also going to be on high alert. And when the right moment came, when I had everything I needed, I would act. Natalie was in the kitchen making her green smoothie. "Good morning, Martha." "Good morning, Natalie." We looked at each other. Two women in a silent war. Two women who knew what the other had done, what the other knew, but neither said a word. Not yet. The game had just begun, and I was determined to win it. The next few days were the strangest of my life. I lived in my own home like an undercover agent behind enemy lines. Every movement was calculated, every word measured, every gesture scrutinized. Natalie and I were actors in a macabre play. In front of Aaron, everything was perfectly normal. "Good morning. Good night. Want some coffee? How was your day?" But when we were alone, the air turned dense, toxic. We both knew the score. It was like living inside a ticking time bomb. On Tuesday afternoon, 2 weeks after my fall, I found something that confirmed my absolute worst nightmares. I was cleaning my room when I heard the mail carrier drop the mail. I went down to get it. There was an envelope for Aaron. Certified mail, the kind that requires a signature. It wasn't my habit to open my son's mail, but something about this envelope made my stomach churn. The return address was a law firm, *Lawson and Associates, attorneys at law, *Why did Aaron need a lawyer? I went up to my room, locked the door, and did something I never thought I'd do. I opened it. Inside were legal documents, heavy legalese I barely understood, but a few phrases jumped off the page like stab wounds. Petition for appointment of conservator regarding alleged incapacity. Respondent. Martha Hayes. Age 58. Petitioner. Aaron Hayes. Son and next of kin. Grounds. Progressive cognitive decline. Episodes of disorientation. Frequent falls. Inability to manage self-care and financial affairs. The letters blurred. Tears came without my permission. My son, my own son, was initiating legal proceedings to declare me incompetent, to strip me of my freedom, my autonomy, my right to decide my own life. I kept reading, my hands violently shaking. If conservatorship is granted, the petitioner shall be appointed sole conservator, granting full authority over the person and estate of the ward, including decisions regarding primary residence, medical care, and asset management. Conservator. Aaron would be my legal guardian, as if I were a child, as if I couldn't make my own choices. And the worst part, the part that shattered my heart into a million pieces, was the next page. Sworn affidavit of petitioner. My mother has shown alarming signs of decline in recent months. She forgets important details, falls frequently, and fails to recognize dangerous situations. As a responsible son, I believe she can no longer live independently and requires specialized care in a facility equipped for her condition. Her condition. As if I were sick, as if I were crazy. But what hurt the most was the signature at the bottom, Aaron's signature. My son signed this. Under penalty of perjury, he declared, I was deteriorating, incapable, a danger to myself. All lies, all fabricated, all orchestrated by Natalie. But Aaron signed it. I sat on my bed for hours with those papers in my lap, trying to understand, trying to process how it had come to this. How the little boy I raised with so much love, the teenager who promised he'd never leave me alone, the man who still kissed my forehead at night, how could Times man be doing this? The answer was obvious. Natalie. She had planted every seed of doubt, every comment about my age, every suggestion that I was failing, every "did you see how your mom forgot that?" Every "your mom seems so exhausted lately, don't you think?" Drop by drop, word by word, she had poisoned my son's perception of me, and he drank the poison right down to the last drop. That night, when Aaron got home, I waited for him in the living room. I had the documents on my lap. My heart was beating so hard I thought it would break my ribs. "Hey, Mom," he said with that tired smile that was now his permanent expression. "Aaron, we need to talk." Something in my tone stopped him. He stood in front of me. "What's wrong?" I held up the papers. "This is what's wrong." His face drained of color. He looked at the papers, then at me. "Mom, you're going to declare me legally incompetent? Is that what you're doing?" "It's not what you think." "No? Then explain to me what it is. Because right here it clearly says you believe I have progressive cognitive decline, that I fall constantly, that I can't take care of myself." "Mom, please." "Since when, Aaron? Since when did you start seeing me as a burden, as a useless old woman who needs to be locked away?" "It's not like that." His shout surprised me. Aaron never yelled. Never. He ran his hands through his hair. "It's not that I see you as a burden, Mom. I'm just worried, honestly worried." "Worried about what? That I garden? That I cook? That I live my life exactly how I have for 30 years? The falls, Mom. The memory lapses." "What falls? What memory lapses?" "You fell in the bathroom 2 weeks ago," Natalie told me. There it was. "Natalie, I didn't fall on my own, Aaron." "Mom, please, don't lie." "Natalie said she saw your bruises when you were changing." Asterisk. Of course. Asterisk, Natalie saw my bruises. The bruises she caused with her floor wax trap. "Aaron, listen to me very carefully. I didn't just fall. Someone put liquid wax on the bathroom floor. Floor wax. It made the tiles so slippery it was impossible not times to fall." "Wax? What are you talking about?" "I'm talking about your wife trying to hurt me so she can declare me incompetent and take this house." The silence that followed was deafening. Aaron looked at me like he had never seen me before, like I was a stranger, a crazy woman. "Mom, do you hear yourself?" "Yes, I hear myself. And I know it sounds insane, but it is the truth. Natalie has been planning to put me in a home since before you two even got married. She has brochures for nursing homes hidden in her room. She has notes calculating how much this house is worth. She wrote out a step-by-step plan on how to declare me incompetent. That's ridiculous. It's the truth, and I have proof." I stood up, pulled out my smartphone, and showed him the photos. The assisted living brochures, the math on the property value, the handwritten plan. Aaron scrolled through them in silence. His face gave away nothing. "And?" I asked when he finished. "Do you still think I'm crazy?" "Mom." His voice sounded so tired. "There's an explanation for all this." "Which is?" Natalie was researching options for the future. For when you actually need it. It's called planning, being responsible. It's not a conspiracy. I couldn't believe it. I showed him the proof, and he was still defending her. "And the wax in the bathroom? Is that responsible planning too?" "There is no wax in the bathroom, Mom." "Yes, there is. I found it. I saved it. I have the can, the rags, everything. I'll show you." I ran to my closet, dug through the back where I had hidden the can of wax and the rags, shoved between old photo boxes and winter coats. It wasn't there. I searched more frantically. I pulled out all the boxes, all the clothes, everything at the bottom of the closet. The can was gone. The rags were gone. No, it can't be. "What's wrong, Mom?" Aaron stood in the doorway. They were right here. The wax, the rags, everything was right here. "Mom, sit down, please." But I couldn't sit down. I kept searching frantically, like a mad woman, like the crazy person Aaron already believed I was. Someone took them. Someone came into my room and took them. "Mom, no one came into your room. Are you confused?" "I am not confused. They were here, I swear to you." My voice broke. Tears began to stream down my face. Aaron stepped forward, trying to hug me. I pushed him away. "Don't touch me." "Mom, please, calm down." "Calm down? How do you want me to calm down when you are trying to lock me up, when your wife is trying to take everything I have?" "No one is trying to take anything from you. We just want what's best for you." "Liar. You want this house, and I am the obstacle you need to remove." "Mom, stop it. You're saying crazy things." Asterisk. Crazy. Asterisk. There it was. The word I had been waiting to hear. "See? You're already doubting my sanity." That's exactly what she wants. No one is doubting anything. But you have to admit your behavior lately has been erratic. Erratic. Paranoid. Accusing Natalie of horrible things, inventing conspiracies, hiding things, and then claiming they were stolen. Every word was a knife to the chest. "I am not inventing anything." "Mom," he sighed deeply. "Maybe you need help. Professional help." "Professional help? You mean a psychiatrist so they can officially declare me insane? So it's easier for you to lock me away? So you can feel better about it? So you can stop living in fear of these delusions?" "They are times delusions, Mom. It's your reality, not actual reality." And there it was. The truth finally spoken aloud. My son thought I was losing my mind, that it was all in my head, that Natalie was the poor victim of my paranoid, aging brain. Just then, Natalie walked into the living room. "What's going on?" I heard shouting from outside. Perfect timing, as always. "Nothing," Aaron said. "Just a difficult conversation." Natalie looked at me. Her eyes were filled with such convincing concern that even I almost believed it. "Martha, are you okay? You look very upset." "You did this." My voice shook with rage. "I did what, Martha?" "You took the wax. You came into my room and you took the evidence." "What wax? I don't know what you're talking about." "Yes, you do. The wax you put on the bathroom floor to make me fall." Natalie looked at Aaron with genuine, profound confusion. "Babe, what is she talking about? Your mom thinks I?" She trailed off, as if it were too painful to even say. "She thinks you put floor wax in the shower so she'd fall." Natalie brought her hands to her mouth, her eyes filled with tears. Perfectly acted tears. "Why would I ever do something like that, Martha? I love you. You're my husband's mother. You're the grandmother to the kids we want to have." "Liar," I whispered. "Martha, I know things have been tense between us. I know I'm probably not the daughter-in-law you wanted, but I would never hurt you. The mere thought breaks my heart." A tear rolled down her cheek. One single, perfect tear. Aaron walked over and wrapped his arms around her. "Shh, it's okay, babe. It's not your fault. My mom is going through something. Maybe we should take her to a doctor," Natalie said between sobs. "Someone who can help her. Because this isn't normal, Aaron. These accusations, this behavior, it scares me." "It scares you?" My voice sounded shrill, even to me. "I'm the one who should be terrified. You two are planning to lock me up." "Mom, please, stop. I am not going to shut up. This is my house. I built it, I paid for it, and I am not letting you take it." "No one is taking anything," Aaron said, with a calmness that terrified me more than any yelling. "But if you keep acting like this, we're going to have to make some very hard decisions. For your own good. Asterisk. For your own good. Asterisk, the most dangerous words in the English language. If you try to institutionalize me, I'll fight. I'll hire a lawyer. With what money, Mom? Your Social Security barely covers your personal expenses." He was right. I lived on a modest, fixed income. All my savings had gone into Aaron's college tuition, paying off the mortgage, maintaining the property for 30 years. I didn't have money for lawyers. I didn't have money to fight. And they knew it. "So what then?" I asked, my voice cracking. "You're going to lock me up against my will?" "If it's necessary." "Yes," Aaron said. Those 4 words destroyed me more than anything else. My son, my own son, was willing to lock me away against my will, for a woman, for a house, for money. "I understand," I said finally. "I understand perfectly." I turned around, walked up the stairs, went into my room, locked the door, and wept. I wept like I hadn't wept in years. Not when Robert left me. Not when I had to work 3 jobs to feed Aaron. I wept because I had just lost my son. Not to death, not to distance. to something worse, to manipulation, to greed, to betrayal. The following days were a silent hell. Aaron barely spoke to me. Natalie treated me with a sickly sweet condescension, as if I were a senile old bat who needed to be handled with kid gloves. "Good morning, Martha. Did you sleep okay? Did you take your vitamins?" I didn't take vitamins. I never had. But she kept asking, building that narrative of the sick old woman who needed pills to function. One morning, I found my room slightly tossed. Not a lot, just enough for me to notice, like someone had been looking for something. The photos I had taken on my smartphone were also gone. Someone had gone into my phone. I didn't have a passcode. I never thought I'd need one in my own home and deleted everything. The brochures, the documents, the photos of the waxed floor, the photos of my bruises, all permanently deleted. I had zero evidence. It was my word against theirs. And no one was going to believe the paranoid old lady. A week after the confrontation, an official letter arrived. A summons from Adult Protective Services and the probate court for a mandatory geriatric evaluation requested by my son as part of the conservatorship petition. I had to appear in 3 days. If I didn't, I could be held in contempt, and they would proceed with the conservatorship anyway. I was trapped. If I went to the evaluation, they would surely find something any normal, forgetfulness from stress, a slight tremor in my hands from nerves, anything they could twist to declare me incompetent. If I didn't go, it would be worse. There was no way out. That night, I went out to the patio. I needed air. I needed to think. The azaleas Natalie had pruned were starting to grow back wild, rebellious, refusing to die. I sat on the stone bench I had put there when Aaron was a boy. I closed my eyes, took a deep breath, and then I knew exactly what I had to do. I couldn't fight this battle. Not the traditional way. I didn't have money for lawyers. I didn't have evidence. I didn't have powerful allies. But I had something Natalie never expected. I still had my legal freedom, and I had the deed to this house. This house was my only card to play. If they wanted it so badly, if they were willing to destroy me to get it, then I was going to make sure they never got it. The next morning, very early, before Aaron and Natalie woke up, I left the house and went to the bank. I asked to speak to the branch manager. It was Mr. Harrison, the same man who had approved my final mortgage payoff years ago. "Martha, great to see you. How can I help you?" "Mr. Harrison, I need your help. I want to sell my house." His surprise was evident. "Sell your house?" "But Martha, that house is your pride and joy." "I know. That's exactly why I have to sell it. Before it gets taken from me." I told him everything. Not the gory details, just the essentials. My daughter-in-law wanted the house. My son was initiating conservatorship proceedings. I needed to sell it fast, for cash, before I lost the legal capacity to do so. Mr. Harrison listened in silence. When I finished, he nodded gravely. "I understand. Let me make some calls. I know a real estate investor who works with cash buyers. But Martha, are you sure? Once you sell it, there's no going back." "I am absolutely sure. I'd rather sell it myself, choose who gets it, and start over somewhere else, than let them snatch it from me while I rot in a nursing home watching soap operas." "And where will you go?" "To Chicago. I have a cousin up there. She offered to let me stay with her until I find a small apartment. With the cash from the sale, I can live comfortably for the rest of my life." "But your son..." "My son made his choice. Now I'm making mine." Mr. Harrison made the calls. By Friday of that week, he had an interested buyer. A young couple. He was a middle school teacher. She was a nurse with 2 small children. The exact kind of family I had always imagined living in that house after me. The price wasn't top of the market, but it was an all-cash offer, and above all, it was fast. We signed the preliminary contract on Saturday morning. In 5 days, the closing and title transfer would be complete. I went home that afternoon with a mix of immense relief and profound sadness. Relief because I had finally taken control of my situation. Sadness because it meant the end of an era. When I walked in, Aaron and Natalie were in the living room. "Where were you, Mom?" Aaron asked, using that suspicious tone he always used now. "Running errands." "What kind of errands?" "My own." Natalie and Aaron exchanged glances. "Mom, we need to talk," Aaron said. "We have nothing to talk about." "Yes, we do. Your court evaluation is on Wednesday." We need you to go. It's important. I'll go. Don't worry. My tone was calm. Too calm. It confused them. You'll go? Natalie asked, unable to hide her surprise. Yes. I'll go to the evaluation. I'll answer their questions. I'll do whatever is necessary. Because by Wednesday, the house would be sold, the cash would be sitting in my new solo account, and I would already have my Amtrak ticket to Chicago. They could evaluate me all they wanted. It didn't matter anymore, because the only thing they wanted, the only thing they were willing to betray me for, was no longer going to be theirs. The next 5 days were the strangest of my life. I lived in my house knowing it was no longer mine. I walked its hallways, saying a silent goodbye to every corner, every hardwood plank, every crack in the drywall that told a story. But I didn't cry. I didn't allow myself the luxury of tears. Tears were weakness, and I needed to be strong, stronger than I had ever been. Sunday morning, while Aaron and Natalie slept, I began to pack, slowly, silently. I didn't want them to realize what I was doing. I pulled my old vintage suitcase out of the attic, the same suitcase I had used when I went on my honeymoon 35 years ago. It was dusty, but sturdy, just like me. What do you pack when you leave your entire life behind? Clothes. The essentials. 3 blouses, 2 pairs of slacks, a dress, underwear, comfortable shoes. Documents. My birth certificate, my ID, my social security card. The will, which didn't matter anymore because there was nothing left to inherit. Photographs. Not all of them, just the most important ones. Aaron as a baby, Aaron at his college graduation, Aaron and me standing in front of the house the day I made the final mortgage payment. My mother, my grandmother, the people who made me who I am. I left the photos of Aaron with Natalie. Those didn't belong to me anymore. And my rosary, the one I had prayed with 1,000 times in moments of anguish, the one I needed now more than ever. The suitcase wasn't even half full. 68 years of life fit into half a suitcase. How sad, and how liberating at the same time. On Monday, Mr. Harrison called. Martha, everything is set. The title company has the paperwork. The buyers are thrilled. They drove by the house, and they love it. The funds are in escrow until you sign the final deed on Friday. Are you sure about this? More sure than I've ever been, Mr. Harrison. Your son knows, right? He won't know until it's too late to stop it. Martha, I understand your situation, but Aaron is your son. You should talk. I already tried talking. He chose not to listen. Now I am choosing to protect the little I have left. My dignity, my freedom, and my right to decide my own life. Mr. Harrison sighed. You are a very brave woman, Martha. I'm not brave. I'm a woman with nothing left to lose. And that makes me dangerous. That afternoon, while Natalie was at Pilates and Aaron was at the firm, I walked through the house. I touched the walls I had painted. I remembered the day I picked that shade of buttery yellow. Aaron was 10. He said, Mom, it looks like the sun lives in our house. I ran my fingers over the dining room table. The table where we had eaten thousands of meals, where Aaron did his homework while I sewed, where we celebrated every birthday, every Thanksgiving, every small victory. I went out to the patio. My azaleas greeted me with their bright pink blooms, the ones Natalie had tried to hack away, but which had refused to die. The ones that now grew stronger, wilder, more beautiful than before. Forgive me, I whispered to them. I know I'm leaving you. But you are strong. You'll survive without me. Just like I will survive without you. The dogwood tree I planted when Aaron was born stood in the corner, tall and proud. Take care of this house, I told it. The new family is going to love you. They have kids. They're going to play in this yard just like Aaron did. They'll laugh. They'll grow. Give them what you gave me for 30 years. Give them your shade, your presence. Show them it's worth putting down roots. I sat on the stone bench, the same one I had sat on 1,000 times, sometimes with coffee, sometimes with tears, sometimes just with silence. Thank you, I said to the house in a low voice. Thank you for being my refuge, my fortress, my home. I'm sorry it has to end like this, but I'd rather leave you with dignity than let them turn you into a battlefield. A soft breeze rustled the dogwood leaves, as if the house were answering me, as if it were giving me its blessing. On Tuesday, Brenda came to visit. I had told her everything over the phone. Martha, this is insane, she said, sitting in my living room. Are you really just going to leave? Leave everything? I'm not leaving everything, Brenda. I'm taking the most important thing with me, my freedom. And Aaron? And the grandchildren you might have someday? Are you just never going to meet them? That question hurt more than I expected. If Aaron wants me to know my grandchildren, he'll know where to find me. I'm leaving a letter with my new address, with my cousin's phone number. If he truly wants me in his life, he'll look for me. And if he doesn't, then I'll just have confirmed what I already suspect, that I lost my son a long time ago, and whoever is left is not the boy I raised. Brenda had tears in her eyes. I'm going to miss you, my friend. And I'll miss you. But this isn't goodbye forever. Chicago isn't on the moon. You'll come visit me. I'll come visit you. It's just, I won't be the neighbor next door anymore. I'll be the friend who had to leave to save herself. We hugged. A long, tight hug, as if we were clinging to something we knew was changing forever. Promise me something, Brenda said when we pulled away. Anything. Promise me you're going to be happy, that you'll find peace up in Chicago, that you won't spend the rest of your life bitter over this. I promise. I'm going to start over at 58. I'm going to build a new life, and I'm going to do it right. I'm going to be the Martha I times want to be, not the one they needed me to be to justify their actions. Wednesday was the day of the geriatric evaluation. I woke up early. I dressed carefully. Black slacks, a crisp white blouse, comfortable flats. I styled my hair and put on a little lipstick. I wanted to look good. I wanted to look sane, competent, capable. Not because I cared about the results of the evaluation in 2 days, none of it would matter anyway, but because I wanted Aaron to see me. I wanted him to remember this image. His mother, head held high, facing with total dignity what he and his wife had done to her. Aaron drove me to the clinic. The ride was silent, uncomfortable. He stared straight ahead at the Atlanta traffic. I looked out the window. Mom, he said finally, I know you think this is a betrayal, but I promise you, I just want what's best for you. What's best for me would be for you to trust me, to listen to me, to believe me. But that's not going to happen, is it? It's complicated. No, Aaron. It's not complicated. It's incredibly simple. You chose to believe her instead of believing me. End of story. It's not fair for you to put it like that. It's not fair. You are dragging me to be evaluated like a child, as if I don't have the right to decide my own life. And I'm the unfair one? Silence. We arrived at the clinic, a modern, 3-story building, white, cold, impersonal. Do you want me to come in with you? Aaron asked. I can do it myself. Like I've done my whole life. I walked in alone, gave my name at reception. They made me wait 40 minutes. 40 minutes in which I observed the other people in the waiting room. Truly elderly people, with canes, with caretakers, with lost expressions. This is how Aaron saw me. As one of these people, finally, they called me back. Dr. Evans, a woman in her early 40s, short hair, glasses, a serious but not cruel expression. Mrs. Hayes, have a seat, please. I sat down. Your son requested this evaluation because he is concerned about your well-being. Do you understand why you are here? I understand perfectly. My daughter-in-law wants my house, and this evaluation is part of the plan to declare me incompetent and take it from me. The doctor raised an eyebrow. That is a very serious accusation. It is the truth. But I don't expect you to believe me. No one believes me. So go ahead, do your evaluation. Ask me whatever you need to ask. Dr. Evans studied me for a moment. Then she began. What day is today? Wednesday, February 14th. What year are we in? 2024. Who is the President of the United States? I answered correctly. Can you count backward from 100 by sevens? I did it flawlessly. I'm going to give you 3 words. I want you to remember them and repeat them to me in 5 minutes. Apple, table, penny. I repeated them 5 minutes later without breaking a sweat. The evaluation continued. Memory tests, attention tests, logical reasoning, spatial orientation. I answered everything perfectly. Because I wasn't crazy. Because I didn't have cognitive decline. Because I was a 8-year-old woman in full possession of her mental faculties. At the end, the doctor leaned back in her chair. Mrs. Hayes, your results are excellent. I do not see a single sign of cognitive decline. Your memory is intact, your reasoning is sharp, your orientation is perfect. So, you're going to declare me competent? I am going to issue a medical report stating that you do not present any condition that would justify a conservatorship for mental incapacity. However, what? However, your son also mentioned frequent falls. Balance issues. Is that true? I fell once in the bathroom because someone deliberately put floor wax on the tiles. Do you have proof of that? I did. But it disappeared. Conveniently. The doctor looked at me with a mix of compassion and skepticism. Mrs. Hayes, I'm going to be honest with you. Your mental health is excellent. But the accusations you are making against your daughter-in-law are highly concerning. Concerning because they're false? Or concerning because they're true? Concerning because if they are false, they suggest a level of paranoia that should be treated, and if they are true, then you are in a very serious situation of elder family abuse. Option number 2. Do you have evidence? I did. I don't anymore. Witnesses? A neighbor. But who's going to believe a nosy neighbor over the word of a concerned daughter-in-law? Dr. Evans sighed. My medical report will be in your favor. There are 0 grounds to declare you incompetent. But I cannot help you with the family dynamic. That is out of my purview. I know. And I appreciate your honesty. What are you going to do? What I should have done from the beginning. Take control of my life. Get out of that situation. Start over. Do you have somewhere to go? Do you have resources? I will soon. The doctor wrote something on a notepad, tore off the sheet, and handed it to me. These are numbers for adult protective services and legal aid organizations that handle financial elder abuse, just in case you need them. I took the paper, folded it, and put it in my purse. Thank you, doctor. Take care of yourself, Mrs. Hayes, and good luck. You're going to need it. I walked out of the clinic with the medical clearance in my hand. Aaron was waiting in the car. How did it go? Fine. The doctor says I am perfectly healthy, mentally and cognitively. I saw something cross his face. Relief? Disappointment? I wasn't sure. I'm glad, Mom. Really. I never wanted you to be sick. You just wanted my house. Mom, please, don't start again. The ride back was even quieter than the ride there. Thursday, I woke up knowing it was my last full day in that house. Tomorrow, Mr. Harrison would come with the title agent. We would sign the closing documents. The money would hit my account. And early Saturday morning, I would take the train to Chicago. I spent the day doing the things I had always done. I watered the plants, brewed coffee, swept the patio. Every action was a silent farewell. In the afternoon, when Aaron and Natalie weren't home, I called my cousin Eleanor in Chicago. Ellie, it's me, Martha. Martha, it's so good to hear from you. How are you? I'm in a complicated situation. Do you still have space at your place? Of course, I have 2 spare rooms since the kids moved out. Why? Are you coming up for a visit? Not exactly. I'm thinking of moving in with you, if you'll have me. Just until I find my own place. Silence on the other end. Martha. What happened? I told her. Not everything. Just the essentials. My daughter-in-law, the plans, the conservatorship threat, my decision to sell the house out from under them. Oh my God, Martha. I am so sorry. Of course you can come up here whenever you want. My house is your house. I'll be arriving Saturday, if that's not too much trouble. Saturday? But that's in 2 days. I know. I just need to get out of here fast, before they realize what's happening and try to stop me. I understand. Okay. I'll be waiting for you. Text me your train info, and I'll pick you up at Union Station. Thank you, Ellie. You have no idea what this means to me. We're family, Martha. Real family. The kind that supports you, not the kind that betrays you. That night, we had dinner together for the last time. Though they didn't know it, Natalie had made a simple pasta. I ate in silence, watching them. Aaron looked exhausted. He had dark circles under his eyes. Was it the weight of guilt, or just stress from the firm? Natalie was glowing. She was talking about her plans, about a remodel she wanted to do in the kitchen, the color she wanted to paint the living room, the new furniture she had seen at West Elm. She talked about My Time's house as if it were already hers. Right, Martha? It'll be gorgeous. A modern kitchen with an island, stainless steel appliances. Yes, I said. Very gorgeous. And don't worry, at the facility you'll be going to, The food is excellent. You won't ever have to cook again. Asterisk, facility. Asterisk. She wasn't even bothering to hide her intentions anymore. Have you already picked out the facility? I asked, with a calm that surprised even me. Natalie and Aaron exchanged looks. Well, we've been looking at options, Aaron said. Just as a precaution. Of course, a precaution. Mom, it doesn't have to be like this. If you just accepted the help, if you were more cooperative. Cooperative with what, Aaron? With my own imprisonment? It's not imprisonment. It's care. It's making sure you're safe. I am safe here. In my house. Your house that you can't maintain anymore, Natalie said. Your house that's too big for you. Your house where you fall and hurt yourself. My house that you want to sell so you can keep the money. The silence that followed was taut. Natalie dropped her fork on her plate. Aaron went pale. Mom, that's not. It doesn't matter, I said, standing up. Nothing matters anymore. Excuse me, I'm tired. I'm going to bed. I went up to my room, locked the door, and smiled. Because they knew that I knew, and it terrified them. But it was already too late. Friday dawned bright and clear. A brilliant blue sky, as if the universe were celebrating my liberation. At 10 a.m., Mr. Harrison arrived with the title agent and the buyers. Aaron and Natalie had left early, he to work, she to the gym, as I did every Friday. I opened the door, offered them coffee, and we sat at the dining room table. The couple was young, in their 30s. They had a 6-year-old boy and a 4-year-old girl. Mrs. Hayes, the wife said, her eyes shining. Your house is beautiful. Our kids are going to grow up so happy here. I know, I said. Because I raised my son here. And he was the happiest boy in the world. Until he wasn't. The title agent pulled out the documents. He started reading legal terms, clauses, conditions. I barely listened. I was just waiting for the moment they put the pen in my hand. Mrs. Hayes, do you understand that by signing these documents, you are transferring all rights to this property? I understand perfectly. And you are proceeding of your own free will, without coercion of any kind? I am proceeding of my own free will. No one is forcing me. This is my decision. My choice. Then please, sign here. I took the pen, the same pen I had used to sign so many important documents in my life. Aaron's school permission slips, his college enrollment, my will, and now, the sale of my house. I signed once, twice, 3 times. On every marked page. Done, the agent said. The property has been transferred. Mr. and Mrs. Carter, this house is now yours. Mrs. Hayes, the funds have been wired to your account. You can verify with Mr. Harrison. Mr. Harrison showed me his tablet. There it was. An amount that represented 32 years of my life, my work, my sacrifice. $850,000. It wasn't as much as I could have gotten if I listed it, but it was enough. It was my freedom in numbers. Mrs. Hayes, Mrs. Carter asked, when do you need to vacate? I'm already packed, just 1 suitcase. I'm leaving tomorrow morning. Tomorrow? But you can stay longer if you need to. A week, 2 weeks, whatever you need. No, thank you. It's better this way. A clean break, like ripping off a Band-Aid so it hurts less. I handed her the keys. The keys to the house I built. The keys to my past life. Take care of this house, I told them. It has a good heart. Sometimes the floors creak at night. Don't be scared. It's just the house settling, talking to itself. And the azaleas in the backyard, let them grow free. Don't overprune them. They're more beautiful when they're wild. Mrs. Carter had tears in her eyes. We promise we'll take care of it, and we promise we'll be happy here. Like I was, I repeated. A long time ago. They left. Mr. Harrison stayed a moment longer. Martha, are you sure you're okay? Do you need anything? I'm fine, Mr. Harrison. Better than fine. I'm free. He hugged me. A paternal hug, the kind that makes you feel like someone actually sees you, like someone understands. God bless you, Martha, and good luck in your new life. Thank you, Mr. Harrison, for everything, for believing me, for helping me, for not treating me like a crazy old lady. You are not crazy. You're the sanest woman I know. He left. I was alone in a house that was no longer my house. I had 4 hours before Aaron and Natalie returned. 4 hours to say goodbye. I walked through every room slowly, touching the walls. I remembered Aaron's room, where I rocked him as a baby, where I nursed him when he was sick, where I read to him before bed. My room, where I cried when Robert left, where I prayed for strength every night, where I dreamed of a future that never arrived. The bathroom, where I almost killed myself or where I was almost killed. The kitchen, where I cooked thousands of meals, where I baked birthday cakes, where I brewed coffee every morning for 3 decades. The living room, where Aaron and I watched movies, where we laughed, where we were a family. And finally, the patio. I sat on the stone bench one last time. The azaleas surrounded me. The dogwood tree watched over me from its corner. "Goodbye," I whispered. "Thank you for everything. I'm sorry I'm leaving you. But you're going to be okay. The new owners are going to love you. They'll take care of you. They'll understand that you are more than plants. You are witnesses. You are memory. You are life." The wind blew softly. The azalea branches swayed, as if waving goodbye. At 3 p.m., I wrote 2 letters. The first was for Aaron. "Son, asterisk. When you read this, I will be gone. Not just from this house, but maybe from your life. That will depend on you. I sold the house. Yes, the house you wanted so badly. The house you were willing to declare me incompetent for. The house you betrayed your mother for. I sold it. I'd rather let it go with dignity than let you snatch it from me. Because that house was my life, my labor, my sweat, my sacrifice, and I wasn't going to let it become your wife's prize for destroying me. Asterisk. The money is safe, in an account under my name alone. I'll use it to start over, far away from here, far away from you. Asterisk. Asterisk. Do not look for me, unless you truly want to find me, unless you are willing to admit what your wife did and what you allowed her to do. I love you, Aaron. I always have. I always will. But that love is no longer enough for me to let you destroy me. Asterisk. Asterisk. I was your mother, and I did a good job. For 35 years, I gave you everything I had. My time, my energy, my entire life. Now, I need to give something to myself. Asterisk. If you ever wake up, if you ever see Natalie clearly, if you ever realize what you lost, here is my cousin Eleanor's address in Chicago. I'll be waiting there. Not forever, but for a while. Asterisk. Asterisk. Until then, take care of yourself. And may God forgive you. Because I can't. Not yet. Asterisk. Asterisk. Your mother, Martha. Asterisk. The second letter was shorter. It was for Natalie. Natalie. Asterisk. You won. But not the way you expected. Asterisk. Asterisk. You wanted the house? The house no longer belongs to you. You wanted to lock me up? I locked myself out, but on my own terms. You wanted to erase me? You succeeded. From your life, from Aaron's life, from this house. Asterisk. Asterisk. But you couldn't erase one thing, the truth. I know what you did, and even if no one else believes me, even if I have no proof, even if you call me crazy, I know the truth, and so do you. And that truth is going to live between you and your husband like a ghost. Every time you walk through the patio where my plants used to be, every time you see the space where my sofa was, every time you cook in the kitchen that was mine, you are going to remember. You are going to remember what you had to do to get here, and that memory will be my revenge. I don't need anything else. Asterisk. Asterisk Martha. Asterisk. I left both letters on the dining room table where they couldn't possibly miss them. At 5 p.m., I grabbed my suitcase. I took one last look at the house. "Goodbye, my love," I told it. "You were a good home. You were my refuge. You were my life. And even though I'm leaving, a piece of me will always live in these walls, in these floors, in this yard. Because that's what happens when you truly love a place. You fill it with your spirit. And that spirit never leaves. It never dies. It never disappears. So even if Natalie thinks she won, even if she stays here, even if she changes every corner, I am still going to be here, in the echoes, in the memories, in the shadows. And they can never take that away from me. I walked out the back door. I closed it without looking back. Because looking back turns you into a pillar of salt, and I needed to keep moving forward. I walked 3 blocks to Brenda's house. She had offered to let me stay the night so I wouldn't have to face Aaron and Natalie. "Ready?" she asked when she opened the door. "Ready." I slept in Brenda's guest room that night. I didn't sleep much, but when I finally closed my eyes, I didn't have nightmares. For the first time in months, I slept in peace. Saturday at 6 a.m., Brenda drove me to the Amtrak station in downtown Atlanta. The sun was barely rising, the city was waking up slowly, the streets were mostly empty. The crisp February air filled my lungs with a clarity I hadn't felt in months. "Are you sure you don't want me to walk you to the platform?" Brenda asked for the 3rd time. "I'm sure. I need to make this trip alone. I need to feel that times I am the one deciding, that times I am the one leaving, that times I am taking the reins of my life." Brenda hugged me hard. So hard it almost knocked the wind out of me. "Call me as soon as you get there, and every week, and if you need anything times you tell me, and I'll be on the next plane up there. You hear me?" "I hear you, my friend. And thank you. Thank you for believing me when no one else did. I always believed you, Martha. Because I know you. And the Martha I know doesn't make things up. She doesn't lie. She doesn't exaggerate. If you told me Natalie was hurting you, it was because it was true." I boarded the train with my half-empty suitcase. I found my window seat, hoisted the bag into the overhead rack, sat down. The train lurched forward. Atlanta began to fade away. Every mile we traveled was a mile between my past and my future. I took out my phone. I had kept it off since yesterday. I didn't want calls. I didn't want texts. I didn't want anything interrupting my escape. But now, sitting on this train taking me to a new life, I was curious. I turned it on. 37 missed calls from Aaron. 24 text message. 10 voicemails. I didn't open all of them, just the first few, to understand how it had gone down. Asterisk, message 1. Friday, 6:47 p.m. "Mom, where are you? We got home, and you're not here. Did you go out?" Asterisk, message 2. Friday, 7:15 p.m. "Mom, I'm getting worried. Can you answer? I called Brenda, and she says she doesn't know where you are." Asterisk, Lear. "My beautiful Brenda, protecting me to the end." Asterisk. Message 3. Friday, 7:52 p.m. "Mom, please. We found your letter. What did you do? You sold the house? That can't be true. Call me immediately." Asterisk. Message 4. Friday, 8:34 p.m. "Mom, you can't do this. That house is my inheritance. It's my future. How could you sell it without consulting me?" Asterisk. There it was. His true pain. Not that I was gone, but that the house was no longer his. Asterisk. Message 5. Friday, 9:18 p.m. "I just talked to Mr. Harrison. He confirmed you sold it. Mom, this is illegal. I'm going to sue. I'm going to annul the sale. You can't do this to me." Asterisk. Message 6. Friday, 10:03 p.m. "My lawyer says the sale is perfectly legal, that you signed of your own free will, that no one forced you. Is it true? Did you really do this?" Asterisk. Message 7. Friday, 11:47 p.m. "Mom, please, let's talk. It doesn't have to be like this. We can fix it. We can." Asterisk. There were no more texts after that, as if he had run out of words, out of arguments, out of things to say. I listened to one of the voicemails. Just one. Aaron's voice sounded broken, tearful. Asterisk, "Mom, I don't understand why. Why did you do this? That house was everything to me. It was my childhood, my memories, my future. And you. You just sold it like it meant nothing. Like times meant nothing. Natalie is devastated. She's crying. She says you accused her of horrible things. She says you left her a really cruel letter. How could you? She only wanted to help you. She only wanted you to be okay. And you abandoned us. Just like Dad abandoned me. You're just like him, Mom. You're just like him." Asterisk. The message ended. Asterisk. You're just like him. Asterisk. Those words hurt more than everything else. More than the conservatorship papers, more than the wax in the bathroom, more than the betrayal. Because Robert had abandoned us for no reason, without cause. Simply because he was a coward who couldn't handle responsibility. I wasn't abandoning anyone, I was saving myself. But to Aaron, it was the same thing. I turned off the phone. I wasn't going to reply. Not now, maybe never. Because what could I say? What words could make him understand what his wife had done, what he had allowed her to do? None. The words had run out a long time ago. Now, there was only silence and distance. And time. The time that either heals or confirms that some breaks are permanent. I arrived in Chicago 18 hours later. My cousin Eleanor was waiting for me at Union Station with a massive smile and open arms. "Martha, cousin." We hugged. She smelled like lavender and coffee, the smell of home, of safety. "Thank you for taking me in, Ellie." "You have nothing to thank me for. Come on, my car is parked nearby. Let's go home. You must be exhausted." Eleanor's apartment was in Lincoln Park. An older walk-up building, but well-kept. 3rd floor, no elevator, but I didn't care. I carried my suitcase up the stairs, feeling like every step took me further away from what I had left behind. The apartment was cozy, small, but full of natural light, full of plants, full of life. "This is your room," Eleanor said, opening a door. "It was my youngest son's, but he moved to Denver 2 years ago. Now it's yours, for as long as you need it." The room had a twin bed, a wooden dresser, a window looking out onto the street. It wasn't big, it wasn't luxurious, but it was mine, my space, my refuge. "It's perfect, Ellie, thank you. Rest, sleep, eat, and when you're ready, we'll talk." The first few days in Chicago were strange, like being suspended in time, as if my previous life had been a dream or a nightmare. I woke up early out of habit, but I no longer had plants to water. I no longer had a yard to tend. I no longer had a massive house to maintain. Eleanor worked part-time at a bookstore. She left at 9 a.m. and came back at 3 p.m. During those hours, I was alone in the apartment. At first, I didn't know what to do with myself. I paced from room to room, looked out the window, thought too much. But little by little, I found my rhythm. I cooked, not out of obligation, but for pleasure. Meals times I times liked, without having to consider if Natalie would approve or if Aaron would eat them. I read books from Eleanor's shelves, novels I had wanted to read for years but never had the time for. I walked. Chicago was enormous, intimidating, but also fascinating. I walked through Lincoln Park, down by the lake, through Wicker Park, observing, learning, discovering, and slowly, very slowly, I began to feel something I hadn't felt in years: peace. 2 weeks after I arrived, Eleanor made a suggestion. "Martha. My friend Mary owns a coffee shop a few blocks from here. She needs help 3 days a week, part-time, nothing too heavy. Would you be interested? Work in a coffee shop?" "Ellie, I'm 58. "Exactly. You're 58, not 88. You still have a lot of life ahead of you. Or do you plan on staying locked in this apartment forever?" She was right. The next day, I went to meet Mary. She was a woman in her 50s, cheerful, loud, with a thick Chicago accent and a contagious laugh. "Do you know how to make coffee? I know how to brew a mean pot of coffee with cinnamon." "But coffee shop coffee? I'm not sure. I'll teach you. If you know how to brew good coffee, you've got a good palate. The rest is just technique. And technique can be learned." I started working the following Monday, 3 days a week, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., learning to use the espresso machine, to make cappuccinos, to draw hearts in the milk foam. It was exhausting. My feet ached at the end of the day. My hands smelled like roasted beans constantly. But it was wonderful. Because it was my time's choice. Asterisk, my time's job. Asterisk, my time's life. Not the life Aaron wanted for me. Not the life Natalie had planned. Asterisk, my time's life. A month after arriving in Chicago, I turned my phone back on for the first time since the train ride. There were more messages, many more. Most were from Aaron, but the tone had changed. They were no longer desperate pleas. They were cold, almost legalistic. Asterisk message. 3 weeks ago. Asterisk mom. My lawyer informed me that the sale of the house is irreversible, that the money is legally yours, that there is nothing I can do. I hope you're happy. You got what you wanted. You destroyed my future. Asterisk message. 2 weeks ago. Asterisk. The new owners moved in today. Seeing that family moving into my house, the house I grew up in, was the most painful thing in my life. And it's all because of your selfishness. Because of your inability to think of anyone but yourself. Asterisk. Selfishness. Asterisk. He was accusing times me, times of selfishness. The son for whom I had sacrificed my youth, my energy, my entire life. He accused me of selfishness for saving the tiny fraction of it I had left. Asterisk message. 1 week ago, asterisk Natalie and I found an apartment to rent. It's small, it's expensive, it's far from my firm, but it's all we can afford. All because you decided to sell our inheritance. Asterisk. Our inheritance. Asterisk. The house I built was times his times inheritance. There wasn't a single message asking how I was, where I was, if I needed anything, if I was okay. It was all about him. His pain, his loss, his destroyed future. There was one last message from 3 days ago. Asterisk message. Asterisk mom. Natalie is pregnant. You're going to be a grandmother. I thought you'd want to know. Even though you probably don't care. You'll never meet your grandson. That was your choice. I hope you can live with that. I read that message 3 times. I was going to be a grandmother. I should have felt joy, excitement, that flutter in the stomach that comes with good news. But I only felt emptiness. Because that baby was going to grow up with Natalie as a mother. With Natalie's lies as the truth. With Natalie's version of who I was, he was going to grow up believing his grandmother was a crazy, selfish, cruel old woman who abandoned his father for no reason, and there was nothing I could do to change it. I turned off the phone, put it in a drawer, and didn't turn it back on for weeks. 2 months after my arrival, while I was working at the cafe, a woman walked in. She was about 65, elegant, with perfectly cut silver hair and intelligent eyes behind designer glasses. She ordered a black Americano. First time here? I asked as I prepared her coffee. Yes, I just moved into the building next door. I'm exploring the neighborhood. Welcome then. This is the best coffee in the area. Or at least, that's what the owner says. She laughed. A warm laugh. I'm Patricia. Martha. Martha. What a lovely name. You don't hear it much anymore. It's a classic name, from another era. Like me. Don't say that. Classic names are timeless, just like the people who have them. I handed her the coffee. She sat at a table near the window, pulled out a book, and began to read. She became a regular. She came in 3 times a week, always ordered the same thing, black Americano, always sat at the same table, always read. Slowly, we started chatting. Small talk at first about the Chicago weather, the books she read, life in the city. But over time, the conversations grew deeper. I found out Patricia had been a lawyer, specializing in family law. She was retired now, widowed, no children. She lived alone, but she wasn't lonely. She had friends, hobbies, a full life. And you, Martha? What's your story? One day, after knowing her for 3 months, I told her. Not everything, but the core of it. My son, my daughter-in-law, the house, the conservatorship threat, my escape. Patricia listened without interrupting. When I finished, she nodded slowly. You did the right thing. You think so? I know what family abuse looks like. I saw hundreds of cases in my career. What you're describing is a textbook case of financial and emotional elder abuse. Your daughter-in-law is what we call a familial predator, and your son is what we call a secondary victim, manipulated by the predator to attack the primary victim, which was you. So, I'm not crazy. No, Martha, you're not crazy. You are traumatized. There's a difference. Those words were a balm, an absolution. Someone who knew, someone with professional experience, was telling me that I hadn't invented anything, that I hadn't exaggerated, that what I lived through was real. And what do I do now? I asked. Now? You keep living, you keep healing, and if your son ever wakes up, if he ever sees the truth, you decide if you want to open that door or not. but that decision is yours, not his. Yours. 6 months after I arrived in Chicago, Brenda called me. Martha, I need to tell you something. What's wrong? It's about Aaron and Natalie. My heart accelerated. What happened? They're moving. They sold everything. The furniture, the car, everything. They're moving to Chicago to live near Natalie's family. Why? Because here in Atlanta, everyone knows what happened. Mr. Harrison told the story. I told the story. The neighbors have been talking. Natalie's reputation is, let's just say it's not good. And Aaron is, I don't know how to describe it. He looks hollow, like he's aged 10 years and 6 months. I saw Natalie at the grocery store the other day. She's pregnant. She's showing already. And she was different, cold, bossy. She talked to Aaron like he was her employee, not her husband. And he just obeyed, with his head down, without a word. I felt a pang in my chest, not satisfaction, sadness, because this wasn't what I wanted. I never wanted my son to suffer. I never wanted him to pay a price. I only wanted to save myself. But the consequences of our actions aren't always what we plan. Do you think he's realizing it? I asked. I don't know, Martha, but I know he doesn't smile anymore. And when I mention your name, his eyes fill with tears. A year after my arrival in Chicago, my life was completely different. I worked full-time at the cafe. Mary had made me the manager. I lived in my own apartment, a small studio in Lakeview, but it was mine. I rented it with my own money. I decorated it to my taste. I had friends, Patricia, Mary, other women from the neighborhood, women who knew me as Martha, not as Aaron's mom, not as Natalie's mother-in-law, just Martha. I had started taking painting classes at a community center near my apartment. I discovered I liked it, that I had a talent for landscapes, for capturing light. I went for a walk every morning through Lincoln Park, watching the people, the dogs, the families, and although I sometimes felt a sharp ache when I saw a grandmother with her grandson, it was no longer a constant, crushing pain. It was a soft, manageable melancholy. I had learned something important. You can lose a lot and still find reasons to live, to smile, to start over. One day, 18 months after I left Georgia, my phone rang. It was an unknown number with a Chicago area code. I hesitated. Answer? Don't answer? Finally, I picked up. Hello? Silence on the other end. Then, a shaky breath. Mom, Aaron's voice. Older, more tired, almost unrecognizable. Aaron, Mom, I need to talk to you. I'm listening. Not over the phone, in person. Please, I need us to see each other. Why? Because you were right about everything. And I need to apologize. I need you to know that I finally understood. My heart was beating so fast I thought it would break my ribs. What did you understand, Aaron? That Natalie, his voice cracked. Mom, I was wrong. I was so wrong. And now I'm trapped, and I don't know what to do. Trapped? How? I have a son. Matthew. He's 3 months old. And I love him. Mom, I love him so much. But Natalie, she's not the person I thought she was. And now I see everything she did to you. Everything we did to you. And I don't know how to live with that. Tears were streaming down my face. Aaron, please, Mom, please let me come see you. Let me bring you your grandson. Let me try to fix this. If it can even be fixed. I closed my eyes, took a deep breath. Part of me wanted to say yes, to tell him to come over, that I forgave him, that everything would be fine. But another part of me, the part that had learned to protect itself, hesitated. I need to think about it, Aaron. This isn't easy for me. I know, and I understand. But please think about it. I'll text you my number. When you're ready, asterisk if times you're ever ready, call me. He hung up. I sat on my sofa for hours with the phone in my hand, thinking, feeling, processing. That night, I called Patricia. Aaron called me. He says he finally realizes Natalie isn't who he thought she was, that he wants to apologize, that he wants me to meet my grandson. How do you feel? I don't know. Afraid, hopeful, angry, sad, all of it. Do you want to see him? I don't know. part of me does. But another part is terrified. This is another manipulation. That Natalie is using him to find me, to, I don't know, finish what she started. It's possible. But it's also possible that he truly woke up, that he finally sees reality. The question is, are you ready to risk finding out? I don't know. You don't have to know right now. Take your time. And remember, whatever you say, whatever you do, your worth does not depend on whether or not you forgive your son. Your worth is in the fact that you saved yourself, that you started over, that you survived. 2 weeks later, I still hadn't decided. But one morning, while I was opening the cafe, I found something tucked into the door handle, an envelope with my name handwritten on it. I opened it. Inside was a photo. A chubby baby with big, dark eyes, smiling at the camera. And written on the back of the photo was a note from Aaron. *, Mom. Meet Matthew, your grandson. He has your eyes, and when he smiles, he reminds me of you. The you I remember from my childhood. The you who laughed, the you who hugged me, the you who made me feel like the world was safe. I'm raising him alone. Well, almost alone. Natalie is not well. Not mentally. She became controlling, paranoid, accusatory. Exactly what she accused you of being. And now I understand. I understand she was projecting onto you what she herself was. I understand that I was a fool. A blind, cruel fool. I am not asking for your forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I only ask that you meet Matthew. Just once. So he knows he had a grandmother who was strong, brave, dignified. So he knows that in his veins runs the blood of a woman who knew how to save herself when everyone tried to destroy her. I love you, Mom. I always have. Even when I didn't know how to show it. Aaron. I looked at the photo of the baby. My grandson. Matthew. And I felt something I hadn't felt in a very long time. I felt that maybe, just maybe, some stories could have second chances. Not happily ever afters. Because what happened couldn't be erased, the pain couldn't be undone, but second chances. New beginnings. Bridges rebuilt over rivers that had tried to drown us. Maybe. Just maybe. 3 more months passed before I made a decision. 3 months in which Matthew's photo lived on my nightstand. 3 months in which I woke up every morning looking at those eyes that, according to Aaron, were just like mine. 3 months talking to Patricia, to Eleanor, to Mary, to myself. What are you most afraid of? Patricia asked one day while we drank coffee in the cafe after closing. That it's a trap, that Natalie is behind this, that I'll get hurt again. And what is it you desire the most? To meet my grandson, to know that something good came out of all this, that despite the pain, despite the betrayal, there is new life, there is hope. Then you know your answer. But I'm scared. Fear is natural. Fear protected you when you needed it. But Martha, sometimes fear also imprisons us. It turns us into inmates of our own past. What if I regret it? What if you don't do it? And you regret not trying. She was right. As always. That night, I dialed the number Aaron had sent me. He answered on the second ring. Mom? His voice sounded hopeful. Scared. Vulnerable. It's me. Thank you. Thank you for calling. I wasn't sure you would. I wasn't sure either. Silence. A silence full of everything unsaid, of all the pain, of all the lost time. Aaron, I need you to understand something before we go any further. Anything. I cannot just forget what happened. I cannot pretend everything is fine, because it's not. You hurt me terribly. You and Natalie. And that damage does not disappear with an apology. I know. But I also need you to understand that despite everything, despite the pain and the betrayal, you are still my son. And that doesn't change. Even though I wished it would. Even though it would be easier if I could just stop loving you. I can't, because that's not how it works. A mother's love is permanent, even when we don't want it to be. I heard a sob on the other end of the line. Mom, I am so sorry. I know. You have no idea how much I regret it. Every day, every night, I look at Matthew and I think about everything I took from him, the grandmother he could have had from the beginning, the family we could have been. And Natalie. A long silence. Natalie is. She's not well, Mom. After Matthew was born, she changed. Or maybe she was always like this and I just didn't see it. She became obsessive, controlling. She checks my phone. She follows me. She accuses me of things I never did. She screams at me in front of Matthew. And I see in her everything she accused you of being, and I understand. God, Mom, I understand everything now. What do you understand? That everything she said about you was what times she times was. That she projected her own demons onto you. And I believed her. I chose to believe her instead of believing you. And that choice destroyed everything. Why are you still with her? For Matthew, because she's his mother, because I'm trying to make it work. But every day it's harder. Every day I realize I am in the exact same trap she tried to put you in. Aaron, listen to me very carefully. You cannot save Matthew by sacrificing yourself. Children need whole, happy parents, not broken martyrs. So what do? I don't know, son. That is a decision only you can make. But what I can tell you is this. Whatever decision you make, do not let fear or guilt guide you. Let what is best for Matthew and for you guide you. Do you forgive me, Mom? That question, the one I had been waiting for and dreading all at once. Forgiveness is not a switch you flip on and off, Aaron. It is a process, and that process takes time. But what I can tell you is this. I am willing to try, to meet Matthew, to see if we can build something new on the ruins of what we destroyed. It's more than I deserve. Probably. But I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it for me. Because I refuse to let what happened steal any more time from me. It stole my house. It stole years of peace. But it is not going to steal the opportunity to know my grandson. I won't let it. 2 weeks later, Aaron came to my apartment, alone, with Matthew, without Natalie. She doesn't know I'm here, he told me when we met in the park near my building. She thinks I came for a job interview. If she knew I came to see you, I don't know what she'd do. Are you afraid of her? Aaron didn't answer, but the answer was in his eyes, in the way he checked his phone every 5 minutes, in the tension in his shoulders. I know, he said finally. I know what you're thinking, that I became what she wanted you to be. A victim, someone who needs to be controlled. I'm not thinking that. I'm thinking that karma is real, and that sometimes the lessons we need to learn are incredibly painful. I sat on a park bench. Aaron sat next to me with Matthew in his arms, and for the first time in 2 years, I saw my grandson. He was 4 months old, chubby, with rosy cheeks, dark curly hair, and those eyes, those big, dark eyes that truly did look like mine. May I asked, extending my arms. Please. Aaron handed Matthew to me. The weight of that baby in my arms was like a balm, like a pardon I didn't know I needed. Matthew looked at me with curiosity. Then, he smiled, a huge, toothless smile that melted my heart. Hi, my sweet boy, I whispered. I'm your grandma. I'm so sorry it took me so long to meet you. Tears were streaming down my face. But they were different tears. Not of pain, of relief, of gratitude, of that immediate, inexplicable love that only grandparents understand. Aaron was crying too. Mom, I am so sorry. For everything. For the house. For the legal papers. For not believing you. For choosing wrong. For everything. I know, son, I know. Will you ever be able to truly forgive me? I looked at Matthew. Then I looked at Aaron. At my son. Who was no longer the boy I raised. He was a broken man. Remorseful. Lost. But he was still my son. Total forgiveness will take time. Maybe years. Maybe it will never reach 100%. But this, right here, I said, pointing to Matthew. This is a start, a bridge, a possibility. Aaron nodded. We spent 3 hours in that park. Talking. Not about what happened that would come later. We talked about Matthew, about his quirks, about how he slept, about how he liked soft sounds, about how he hated the cold. We talked like a family, like what we once were, like what we might, someday, be again. After that day, Aaron began visiting me once a month. Always alone with Matthew, always a secret from Natalie. Aren't you afraid she'll find out? I asked him one day. Yes. But I'm more afraid of losing this. Losing you again. The thought of Matthew growing up without knowing his grandmother. That scares me more. What are you going to do about your marriage? I don't know. I've thought about divorce. But I'm terrified of losing Matthew. Natalie threatens me. With things. With taking me to court. With saying I'm a bad father. With doing exactly what she tried to do to you. Yes. So now you know how it feels, to be trapped by someone who uses the legal system as a weapon, by someone who manipulates reality to get what they want. How did you stand it, Mom? How did you have the strength to leave? Because I realized something fundamental. No one can save you but yourself, and when you realize that staying is going to destroy you, you leave. Even if it hurts, even if you lose things, even if people don't understand, you leave. Because your life is worth more than any house, any relationship, anything. Do you think I should leave? I think you should do whatever is best for Matthew, and for you. And if that means leaving, then yes, leave. Fight for custody if you have to. But don't stay in a place that is killing you inside, because Matthew needs a whole father, not a ghost. 6 months after our first reunion, Aaron made his choice. He divorced Natalie. It was ugly. It was painful. She fought for sole custody. She accused him of abandonment, of being a terrible father, of infidelity that never happened. But Aaron had something I never had. Evidence. Text messages where Natalie threatened him, audio recordings where she verbally abused him, testimonies from neighbors in their Chicago apartment building who had heard the screaming. And he had something else. A judge who saw past Natalie's perfect tears, who saw the pattern, the manipulation, the abuse. Custody was split 50-50. It wasn't what Aaron wanted, but it was better than losing his son entirely. I understand everything now, Mom, he told me the day the divorce was finalized. I understand why you left, why you sold the house, why you disappeared. It wasn't cowardice, it was survival. That's right. Do you forgive me now? I am forgiving you. A little more every day. But son, there is something you need to understand. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means choosing not to let the past consume me. It means choosing to build something new without pretending the old stuff didn't happen. So we're not going to be like we were before. No, we will never be like we were before, because before included an innocence that no longer exists. It included a trust that was broken. But we can be something new, something different, something stronger, because it was rebuilt with honesty instead of illusions. Today, 3 years after I left Georgia, my life is completely different. I still live in Chicago, in my apartment in Lakeview. I still work at Mary's coffee shop. Actually, I'm a partner now. We bought the commercial space and expanded. My paintings sell in a small gallery in Wicker Park. I'm not famous, but people buy my work, and that fills me with a pride I never felt before. I am 61 years old, and for the first time in my life, I don't feel old. I feel alive, present, whole. Aaron visits me twice a month with Matthew. My grandson is 3 years old now. He calls me Gaga. He still can't pronounce grandma right, but I don't care. It is the sweetest sound I have ever heard. I tell him stories, I bake him cookies, I take him to the park. I do everything I couldn't do when he was born. Because his other grandmother, because Natalie is still his mother, even if that reality hurts, was busy trying to destroy me. Natalie and I have never spoken again. When Aaron picks Matthew up from her place, she sends indirect messages through him, venomous comments that Matthew repeats without understanding. Gaga, Mommy says you're mean, that you took her house. And what do you think, sweetheart? I think you make the best cookies in the whole wide world. And for now, that is enough. Someday, when Matthew is older, I will tell him my side of the story. I will teach him that things aren't always how people tell them, that there are multiple truths, multiple perspectives, but that will be when he is ready, when he can understand the complexity of human relationships, the pain we can cause each other, even when we love each other. For now, I just want to be his grandmother, the one who loves him unconditionally, the one who is present, the one who chose to save herself so she could be here for him. Sometimes I think about the house, my time's house, the house I built with my own hands and had to let go of so I could fly. Brenda tells me the Carter family takes good care of it, that the yard is more beautiful than ever. that the azaleas grew wild and gorgeous, that the kids play in the exact spot where Aaron used to play, and it brings me peace to know the house is full of life, that it didn't become a battleground, that it serves the purpose it was always meant to serve, to be a home, a refuge, a place where happy memories are built. Natalie and Aaron never lived there together permanently. They never owned it. They never turned it into what they wanted. And that, in a strange way, is my victory. Not because I took something from them, but because I took away their power over me. Their ability to use what I loved as a weapon against me. The other day, Patricia asked me if I regretted anything. Yes, I told her. I regret not leaving sooner. I regret waiting so long. I regret letting it get to the point of wax on a bathroom floor. I should have left the moment I saw the first signs. The moment Natalie started erasing me. Why didn't you? Because I was afraid. Afraid of losing Aaron. Afraid of being alone. Afraid to admit my daughter-in-law hated me. Afraid to accept that my son had chosen poorly. And now I understand that fear makes us prisoners. It keeps us in places that destroy us. It convinces us that enduring is braver than leaving. But it's not true. Sometimes, true bravery is letting go. It's saying, "This is killing me, and I choose to live." What would you say to women who are going through what you went through? I thought about that question for a long time. I would tell them to trust their intuition, that if something feels wrong, it probably is times wrong, that they are not crazy, that they are not exaggerating, that family abuse exists in all its forms, and it doesn't always leave visible bruises. I would tell them that their life is worth more than any house, any inheritance, any relationship. I would tell them that saving yourself is not selfishness, it's survival. I would tell them that it is never too late to start over. That I started over at 58, and these 3 years have been the freest of my life. I would tell them that forgiveness is a process, that you don't have to forgive to heal, that you can choose peace without needing reconciliation, and I would tell them that life after trauma is possible. It's not the same life, it's different, but it can be beautiful. It can be full. It can be times yours, asterisk. This morning, while I was opening the cafe, I saw my reflection in the glass door. I saw a 61-year-old woman. Gray hair that I no longer try to dye. Wrinkles around my eyes that tell stories of laughter and tears. Hands that have worked, that have built, that have let go. And for the first time in a long time, I liked what I saw. Not because I'm perfect, but because I am a survivor. Not because everything went exactly as I planned, but because I learned to improvise when the plan failed. Not because I don't have scars, but because those scars are evidence of battles I won. Battles against manipulation, against abuse, against a system that favors those who lie the best. But above all, battles against myself, against my fear, against my need to be loved, even at the cost of my own destruction. Last night, I dreamed of my grandmother, the one who gave me the rosary, the one who raised me when my mother couldn't. In the dream, we were sitting in her old kitchen. She was making biscuits by hand. I was watching her. "My sweet girl," she said without turning to look at me. "Did you finally understand?" "Understand what, Grandma?" "That sometimes you have to burn the bridges to build new roads. But it hurts to burn bridges." "Of course it hurts. But it hurts more to stay trapped on an island that's sinking just because you're afraid to swim." I woke up with tears on my cheeks, but they were tears of relief, of comprehension. My grandmother was right, as always. If my story serves any purpose, I hope it serves this, so that a woman somewhere, sitting in her house, feeling like something is wrong but unable to explain what, reads this and says, "I'm not crazy. What I feel is real." So that a mother who watches her son pull away due to the manipulation of another person knows she is not alone, that it is not her fault, that a mother's love is not always enough to counteract the poison of manipulation. So that an older woman who thinks it's too late to start over reads this and says, "If she could do it at 58, I can do it now." So that we all understand that letting go is not giving up, it is liberating ourselves. That leaving is not abandoning, it is saving ourselves. That starting over is not failing, it is being reborn. Today is Sunday. My day off. Aaron is coming with Matthew in an hour. We're going to the Lincoln Park Conservatory, then to walk by the lake, then to get ice cream, to make new memories that someday Matthew will tell his own children about. I baked cookies last night, the gingerbread ones I always used to make in my house in Georgia. That house that is no longer mine, but will always carry my spirit. I put on my favorite sweater, the light blue one I bought at a farmer's market a year ago. I grab my purse, the cookies, and walk down the stairs of my building. The sun is shining. Chicago is waking up with that characteristic noise horns, voices, life, and I walk toward the park where we'll meet, with my head held high, with my heart lighter than it has been in years. Because I understood something fundamental. Life always collects its debts. You don't need to take revenge. You don't need to take justice into your own hands. You just need to live. Live well. Live free. Live on your own terms. And the universe takes care of the rest. Natalie lost her reputation, lost her marriage, and will eventually lose the respect of her own son when he grows up and understands. Aaron lost years of peace. He lost his relationship with me for a long time. He learned painful lessons I wish he hadn't had to learn. I lost my house. I lost years of tranquility. I lost the illusion of the perfect family. But I gained something worth more than all of that combined. I won myself back, and that, no one can ever take that away from me. In the distance, I see Aaron. He is walking with Matthew, holding his hand. My grandson runs toward me when he sees me. Gaga, Gaga. I lift him into my arms, kiss his chubby cheeks, breathe in that baby smell that is already fading because he is growing up entirely too fast. Hi, my sweet boy. Ready for our adventure? Yeah, Daddy says we're gonna see ducks. That's right. And then ice cream. Matthew claps excitedly. Aaron walks up. He kisses my forehead, just like he did when he was a boy. Hi, Mom. Hi, son. We look at each other, and in that look is everything we have lived through. All the pain, all the forgiveness, all the road we still have left to travel. But there is also something new, something we didn't have before. Honesty, respect, an understanding that we are both human, imperfect, capable of hurting each other, and capable of healing each other. Ready, he asks. Ready. The three of us walk toward the park, Matthew in the middle, holding our hands, swinging between us, laughing with that clear, bright laugh of children who do not yet know pain. And as we walk, I think about everything that happened to get here. The wax in the bathroom, the letters from the lawyer, the sale of my house, the train to Chicago, the nights spent crying, the days spent rebuilding. And I think, it was worth it. Every tear, every moment of terror, every night wondering if I made the right choice, it was worth it. Because I am here, alive, free, walking toward the future with my grandson's hand in mine. And if my story helps just one single woman open her eyes, trust her intuition, and save herself before it's too late, then all of this, all the pain and the loss, will have been completely worth it. Because I am no longer the Martha who stayed quiet, the one who yielded to keep the peace, the one who made herself small so others could feel big. I am the Martha who chose to live, who chose to save herself, who chose her dignity over comfort. And that Martha, that woman who was reborn at 58, is the woman I always should have been, the woman I finally am, and, God willing, the woman I will continue to be until my very last day.